Chapter 773. You mentioned that the primal chaos realm requires the fusion of nomological laws. Do you know how the cultivation of the primal chaos realm is divided? What are supremes? What are sovereigns? Our true sun great world has indeed produced sovereigns in its history, but, even when our sword astral sect was at its peak, we were unable to come into contact with such existences. We only know that sovereigns are unbelievably powerful. The power of a sovereigns can radiate over a dozen worlds and dozens of great worlds. And the power of a sovereigns is tens, hundreds, or even hundreds of times that of a primal chaos overlord. It is not something that the primal chaos overlords can contend against. At this point, Tuoba Changkong paused slightly. It is said that there are sovereigns in the sacred path great world, but because our true sun great world encountered a disaster 10,000 years ago, and the 8 primal chaos overlords all fell, the upper echelons were worried that the sacred path great world would take advantage of our weakness to invade our true sun great world through the teleportation array. The teleportation array between our two worlds has been closed for thousands of years, and no one knows if it is true or not. 10,000 years ago, the true sun great world encountered a disaster. Since you have lived for 8,000 years, you should know something about this matter, right? Yes, it's related to the invasion of a world. The heaven primordial world was also involved in this war. Later, the ruler of that world led their supremes to attack the heaven primordial world. In addition, there were also people who attacked our true sun world. But for some reason, just as they were about to pour into our true sun world, the space transmitting formation was shut down. In the end, only 8 people entered our true sun world. The supremes of our true sun world risked their lives to kill the 8 invaders. Unfortunately, our true sun world also paid the price of 4 supremes. The remaining 2 supremes were too seriously injured and died in less than 100 years. Xing Hui fell silent after hearing Tuoba Changkong's words. Different worlds, different people, different standpoints, and different perspectives on the Great War 10,000 years ago would have different perspectives. However, what was certain was that the defeat of the apex supremes of the divine wilderness great world was definitely related to the ancestors of this primal chaos organization. The spatial teleportation array suddenly collapsed, and the 8 primal chaos experts of the divine wilderness great world were trapped in the true sun great world. Then, they were tortured to death by the various primal chaos giants of the true sun great world. It seems that it's not an easy task to travel from the chaotic divine realm to the universe of time. Then, it's impossible to solve the threat from the kingdom of Ikes from the outside. In the end, I have to find a way to go to the divine wilderness first, and then return to Earth. Xing Hui muttered to himself. Master. If I may ask, are you planning to head to another great world? At this moment, Taba Zhangkong suddenly said. Xing Hui's gaze landed on Tuoba Changkong. If I want to go to other worlds, is there any other way? There is one, but this method is only useful for the top sons of chaos. Moreover, there is an enormous risk involved. Taba Zhangkong said. Go ahead. Master, have you ever heard of the sensing technique that was derived from the 45th level of chaos? Of course. The sensing technique allows you to sense and communicate with living beings in alternate dimensions. These living beings are all within the range of the Master of Chaos's power. In other words, it covers the entire primal chaos divine domain. Once you sense a living being in an alternate dimension, you can directly spy on the living being in that alternate dimension and then activate the teleportation technique to teleport over. Since the living beings in alternate dimensions are often different from us humans, their location can be filled with danger. Therefore, there is a certain level of danger. At this point, Taba Zhangkong paused for a moment. I've read in the ancient records that there are living beings in alternate dimensions who specially set up traps and use this method to hunt sons of chaos so that they themselves have the qualifications to become a son of chaos. Sensing technique, living beings in alternate dimensions. Xing Hui's eyes lit up when he heard Taba Zhangkong's explanation. In addition, at this time, he also understood the reason for the teleportation technique's so-called one-world restriction. The level 1 teleportation technique could only teleport within the divine wilderness great world, but if he could break through to the level 2 or level 3, this restriction would be extended to the 10 worlds and the 100 worlds. This method is not bad, but unfortunately, the sensing technique can only be obtained at the 45th level. Moreover, if the living beings in alternate dimensions are extremely far away from me, the teleportation technique might not be able to reach them. Xing Hui said. Therefore, this method is only useful for a very small number of people. Taba Zhangkong said awkwardly. After a moment, he glanced at Xing Hui and thought of the series of questions that Xing Hui had asked. He cautiously probed, "Master, are you, not from the true Sun Great World?" With Taba Zhangkong's sole imprint, Xing Hui was not worried that he would betray him. He nodded. "That's right. I drifted to this world by chance and am now thinking of a way to leave and return to my world. Your world is at the intersection of the chaotic divine realm and the universe of time." "That's right." Taba Zhangkong heard this and nodded. It was not that there were no cultivators like Xing Hui who had drifted to the true Sun Great World by chance, but they were much rarer. Even the Chaos Realm giants who had invaded their world had left behind traces in the true Sun Great World. After all, an expert who could create a world with a thought was equivalent to an army. When they came, they would naturally lead an army to invade. Creating a world with a thought was already like this, let alone a Chaos Realm giant. I need to buy a large amount of spirit marrow, but I can't let anyone find out. Do you have any suggestions? Master, may I ask how much spirit marrow you are talking about? Xing Hui pondered for a moment about how much spirit marrow he would need to nurture 20 wood spirits and finally said, "Let's start with 300,000. 300,000. Taba Zhangkong, who had been cautious, could not help but widen his eyes. Master, you said 300,000 spirit marrow? Not spirit crystals. You didn't hear wrong. 300,000 spirit marrow worth 300 Dao rhymes. Hiss, even though he was already mentally prepared, the wealth of his master still made Taba Zhangkong suck in a breath of cold air. Master, why do you need so much spirit marrow? I obtained some wood spirits by chance. Wood spirits need spirit qi to nurture plants, so I plan to prepare more in one go. But, 300,000 spirit marrow is too much. Taba Zhangkong laughed bitterly. After a while, he said, moreover, if master wants to nurture wood spirits, you don't necessarily need spirit marrow. Azure wood spiritual liquid is more effective than spirit marrow, and the price is only a third of spirit marrow. Azure wood spiritual liquid, Xing Hui had never heard of such a treasure before and was immediately interested. Is this a product unique to the Hunyuan continent? Yes. Azure wood spiritual liquid can only be nurtured by Hunyuan ancient trees that are 10,000 years old and above. The price is not high. 30 cubes of azure wood spiritual liquid is about 1 Dao rhyme, but its effect on wood spirits is comparable to 3 Dao rhymes of spirit marrow. I'll buy it. Xing Hui waved his hand. I plan to buy 100 Dao rhymes of azure wood spiritual liquid. Where can I buy it? Mountain Leaf City's Gu family. The Gu family has the largest Hunyuan wood forest in the Hunyuan continent. Speaking of this, Taba Zhangkong seemed to have thought of something and paused. But the Gu family's reputation is a little bad. There have been several rumors of them bullying their customers. Therefore, master should go to a few more places. Although these places can't provide 100 years of azure wood spiritual liquid in one go, the output will not be less than 10 Dao rhymes. Okay, let's not delay. Where's the nearest place? Xing Hui asked. The cultivation path he had set revolved around the dragonization fruit tree. Now that there was a way to accelerate the ripening of the dragonization fruit tree, he naturally couldn't wait. Blackwood City's Zish family. Let's go. Tsing Hui immediately got up and headed to the Zish family under Taba Zhangkong's lead. The azure wood spiritual liquid was the companion of the ancient Sangshuan wood. Although the ancient Sangshuan wood was valuable, it was only useful to cultivators below the shattering vacuum realm. As a result, the Zish family, who made a living by selling the azure wood spiritual liquid, couldn't be called a top clan in Blackwood City. However, because there were several great figures in the Zish family who had cultivated the divine true body, they also had a lot of power and influence in Blackwood City. When Tsing Hui and the others landed in the Zish family's castle, they saw a large building that stretched for nearly 100 kilometers. Moreover, the entire building was protected by a 16th-order formation. Even if a maverick expert rashly broke in, there was a possibility that they would end up with a grievance. The arrival of Taba Zhangkong, an expert at the peak-shattering vacuum realm, naturally attracted the attention of the Zish family. Soon, an elder of the shattering vacuum realm came over to welcome them. "I am Zish Xing, the 12th elder of the Zish family. Is there anything the Zish family can help you with?" Master has naturally come to the Zish family for the azure wood spiritual liquid. "How much azure wood spiritual liquid does your Zish family have?" "We want it all," Taba Zhangkong said indifferently. Hearing that Taba Zhangkong wanted to buy all the azure wood spiritual liquid of the Zish family, Zish Xing snorted coldly in his heart, but on the surface, he still smiled and said, "Our Zish family sells the azure wood spiritual liquid for a living and has accumulated a lot over the years. Not to mention a lot, we still have more than 40 cubes. Sir, do you really want to buy it all at once?" "Only 40 cubes?" Tsing Hui frowned. This amount was a little. However, it was better than nothing. "Prepare everything for me. I will pay with the Dao vessel. Give me an accurate amount," Tsing Hui said indifferently. "You want to buy it all and pay with the Dao vessel?" Seeing that Tsing Hui and Taba Zhangkong did not seem to be joking, Zish Xing's face suddenly changed and he hurriedly gestured with his hand. "Honored guests have arrived, honored guests have arrived. Please come in, please come in. If 2 honored guests are willing to trade with the Dao vessel, our Zish family will definitely give you a satisfactory and affordable price. Quickly prepare it," Tsing Hui said. Yes. I will have someone prepare 46 cubes of azure wood spiritual liquid." Leading the way, Zish Xing had already sent a message and the entire Zish family was busy. To the side, Taba Zhangkong hesitated for a moment and whispered, "Master, in fact, if we exchange the Dao vessel for spiritual marrow, it will be more affordable. The more procedures there are, the more troublesome and risky it is. The azure wood spiritual liquid I want to trade is not a small amount. I don't want to have any trouble along the way. Besides, it's only a difference of 2 or 3 Dao runes. I can afford to lose it." Hearing Tsing Hui's words, Taba Zhangkong did not know how to respond. Soon, an old man of the Zish family with divine true body cultivation had personally come to Tsing Hui and handed over the 46 cubes of azure wood spiritual liquid to Tsing Hui. He also gave Tsing Hui a lifetime VIP card of the Zish Chamber of Commerce. His attitude was extremely warm. When Tsing Hui left, even if he and Taba Zhangkong had already flown away, the Zish family's old ancestor and elders still watched Tsing Hui and did not leave for a long time. Their service attitude could be said to be like a guest at home, and no one could find any fault with it. Chapter 774. The 46 cubes of azure wood essence were immediately transferred into Tsing Hui's personal space for the Wood Spirit Empress to absorb. Just as Tuoba Changkong had said, the Wood Spirit Empress absorbed the azure wood essence several times faster than the spirit marrow. She had already given birth to a wood spirit after absorbing less than a third of the 46 cubes of azure wood essence. At this rate, if he could purchase 300 cubes of azure wood essence, it wouldn't be difficult for the Wood Spirit Empress to give birth to another 20 wood spirits. Very good. Tsing Hui's eyes flashed. Let's go to the next place. Who's next? There are 3 other places in Blackwood City that also produce azure wood essence, but their output isn't high. The 3 places together probably only have a dozen to 20 cubes of azure wood essence. The next place is the Purple Flame sect of Hundred Flowers City, but our relationship with Hundred Flowers City isn't very good, and we don't have a teleportation formation. It's nearly 1,000,000 kilometers to fly there. While speaking, Tuoba Chankong's gaze fell on Tsing Hui. If my lord finds it troublesome, we can take a flying boat. The Tsangshuan continent has a special flying force and it's very fast. It can travel 1,000,000 kilometers in 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days. There's no need. We can fly there directly. Tsing Hui said. Fly there? Tuoba Changkong looked at Tsing Hui and had no choice but to say, then I'll fly with master. Just follow me. Tsing Hui had already shot into the air, piercing through the void in the blink of an eye and shooting into the firmament. He could fly over 100 kilometers in a breath by operating his divine ability chasing light. As his understanding of the laws of space grew more profound, he could already travel over 1,000 kilometers in 4 or 5 breaths. A breath was about 2 to 3 seconds, so 1,000 kilometers in 5 breaths was a speed of 240,000 kilometers per hour. This speed wasn't inferior to any vacuum-shattering expert. In fact, if he operated his divine ability to the limit, his speed would be even faster. Tuoba Changkong, who followed closely behind Tsing Hui, felt somewhat helpless at Tsing Hui's stubbornness. However, when Tsing Hui really displayed his speed, he was slightly stunned, especially when he started to travel at full speed, only to be able to keep up with Tsing Hui's speed. Shock and solemnity appeared in his eyes. This speed, this level of use and comprehension of the law of space, compared to me, a vacuum-shattering expert, is not inferior. No, in terms of comprehension of the law, he should be above me, but he is a little inexperienced in using it. What is more frightening is that even when he is traveling through the void, he does not reveal any aura. This method of hiding aura is terrifying. If he wants to turn into an assassin and quietly assassinate someone, who below the divine real body can stop him. Thinking of this, Tuoba Changkong, who was originally somewhat dismissive of his master and only served him because his soul brand was controlled by him, finally calmed down and truly felt a trace of reverence. With Tsing Hui's astonishing speed, 1,000,000 kilometers was traversed in less than half a day, and this was because Tsing Hui had stopped and waited for Tuoba Changkong for a period of time. Tsing Hui had raised his recovery ability to the 10th level, but Tuoba Changkong had not. Although the true Sun Great World was close to the divine wilderness Great World and could be considered rich compared to ordinary worlds of the same level, Tuoba Changkong, who was equivalent to a golden core expert of the divine wilderness Great World, was only at the 12th level of chaos. This was also because he was the great elder of the Sword Astral sect. Some vacuum-shattering experts were not even at the 10th level of chaos, which was even more unbearable. After realizing that he had become a burden to Tsing Hui in terms of speed, Tuoba Changkong's old face turned red, which was a rare sight. Since then, in front of Tsing Hui, he no longer dared to show the slightest bit of respect on the surface and arrogance in his heart. After traversing 1,000,000 kilometers, Tsing Hui and Tuoba Changkong soon arrived at the Purple Flame sect. After spending 11 Taoist rhymes to buy 34 cubic meters of azure wood spiritual liquid, they set off again and went straight to another destination. In 5 days, Tsing Hui and Tuoba Changkong had already visited 6 houses and bought a total of 230 cubic meters of azure wood spiritual liquid. And in these 5 days, with the support of a large amount of azure wood spiritual liquid, the wood spirit queen also maintained the speed of 1 wood spirit per day, constantly breeding new wood spirits. It seemed that the number of 20 wood spirits was just around the corner. However, the 2 of them ran around and bought azure wood spiritual liquid. In just 5 days, they had spent more than 70 Taoist rhymes on items that carried Taoist rhymes, which finally attracted the attention of some people. Because this matter happened in the circle of azure with spiritual liquid sales, the first to target Xinghui and Tuoba Changkong was a sect called the Giant God Sect. The Giant God Sect was one of the many small sects in the Tsangshuan continent. Besides the sect master, Taoist Giant Wood, who had cultivated the divine true body, the rest of the elders were all at the shattering void stage. The Giant God Sect also sold azure with spiritual liquid, but because the production was low, Xinghui did not come. Even so, he was still the first to notice the turmoil in the azure with spiritual liquid market. According to the direction and pattern of Xinghui and Tuoba Changkong's progress, the sect master of the Giant God Sect immediately gathered the 6 most trusted elders in the sect and went to Xinghui and the others' next destination, the Cloud Mist Secret Forest, which was a path that the Sun family must pass through. They quietly lurked there, waiting for their prey to take the bait. However, just as they entered the Cloud Mist Secret Forest, a figure directly stepped out from inside. "You're from the Giant God Sect. Get lost." At the sight of the figure, the sect master of the Giant God Sect, Taoist Giant Wood's expression changed. "You're a grand elder of the Gu clan Senate, Gu Qijin." Taoist Giant Wood, don't think that I don't know why you're here. To tell you the truth, our Gu clan has already set our eyes on that prey. If you don't want your Giant God Sect to be destroyed, you'd better leave obediently. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Gu Qijin said sternly. "You." Taoist Giant Wood's expression turned very ugly as he looked at Gu Qijin. "Gu Qijin, in terms of cultivation, you've only broken through to the divine true body stage a little more than 10 years ago, and you've even cultivated the Jiuying true body. How can you compare to my Ting serpent true body? In my opinion, this prey should be divided equally between our 2 clans. When the time comes, we'll each get half of the azure with spiritual liquid and the Tao carrying object." "Oh. You want to use your cultivation to suppress me? Fine, I'll give up on this target. However, if you dare to intercept my Gu clan's prey, your Giant God Sect should consider carefully whether you can bear the price." "You." A cold light flashed in Taoist Giant Wood's eyes. The Giant God Sect was just a small sect, and he was the only divine true body expert in the sect. However, the Gu clan was a hegemon. Although they couldn't be compared to the top 16 forces of the Tsangshuan continent, they had a reigning body expert and could be considered the overlord of the nearby territories. If they really wanted to deal with the Giant God Sect, there was no need for their reigning body ancestor to take action. Just 2 or 3 grand elders who had cultivated the divine true body would be enough to uproot the Giant God Sect. "Why? Perhaps you can try and see if you can keep me here. If you can successfully silence me, no one will know who did it." After Gu Qijin finished speaking, he seemed to have thought of something. "Right, you have to defeat me as soon as possible. Otherwise, if I spread the news in the Chaos Divine Hall, your Giant God Sect won't be able to escape the fate of destruction." Taoist Giant Wood glared at Gu Qijin unwillingly. In the end, he could only wave his hands sullenly. "Let's go. A wise man submits to circumstances. Farewell, I won't see you off." Gu Qijin sneered with a faint smile on his face. After breaking through to the divine true body realm and becoming a member of the Senate, he could finally hold his head up high in his family. Therefore, he had enjoyed using his family's power to crush those small factions for the past decade or so. He looked at those who were usually stronger than him but dared not speak out of fear of the Gu family's power. Especially when, he still had a trump card up his sleeve. "Sect Master, are we just going to let it go like this?" Taoist Giant would turn to leave. A vanquishing vacuum rank elder beside him asked somewhat unwillingly. "Let it go? How can we just let it go like this? The Gu family wants to monopolize that prey. Dream on. The azure wood essence on that prey is already worth more than 70 Taoist rhymes, not to mention that he obviously has other Taoist treasures on him. That's a profit of nearly 100 Taoist rhymes. It's worth it even if the giant god sect's foundation is sacrificed. After all, the giant god sect was single-handedly raised by me. As long as I, the sect master, am still around, the giant god sect won't be destroyed. Then sect master's plan, we'll go around the cloud mist woods and intercept them in front. Taoist giant Wood said without hesitation. All right. The elders who had come with him all agreed solemnly. Together with Taoist giant Wood, they quickly went around the cloud mist woods and headed in the direction of Tsinghui. However, before they could completely go around the cloud mist woods, a voice suddenly rang out from behind Taoist giant Wood. I was just considering whether or not to kill you. After all, the soaring serpent's true form is adept at flight and escape is a little troublesome. Who would have thought that you would be so stubborn as to appear in front of me for the second time? There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it, and instead barge into the gates of hell. Taoist giant Wood whipped his head around and glared at Gu Qijin, who was following closely behind him. Gu Qijin, do you really think that I won't dare kill you just because you're from the Gu family? Even if I kill you, I'll just have to flee to other continents. Do you really think the Gu family can do anything to me? We'll only know whether we can do anything to you after we fight. I, Gu Qijin, spent 1,800 years to advance from the immortality stage to the divine stage. However, it only took me 100 years to advance from the peak of the domain stage to the divine true body stage. Do you really think that's because I've been accumulating strength for a long time? Even if you're slightly stronger than me in terms of cultivation base, it's just a matter of how determined I am to kill you. After Gu Qijin finished speaking, he immediately attacked. A ball-like treasure rapidly expanded in his hand. Soon, it formed a 30-kilometer-wide barrier, enveloping Taoist giant Wood within it. The ancient divine world. Is that a fragment of the ancient divine world? You actually have such a treasure. You must have obtained the treasure from this fragment. No wonder you could attain the divine true body in such a short time. The fragment of the ancient divine world is the key to opening the divine kingdom. Countless big shots are trying their best to collect it. Aren't you afraid that others will find out and kill you? Taoist giant Wood's face was filled with shock and anger when he saw the treasure that trapped him. Naturally, no one will know after I kill you. However, before the battle between the two of them could completely erupt, two figures swiftly arrived from the horizon. It was Tsinghui and Tuoba Changkong. Chapter 775. Just now. I think I heard something about the ancient god world fragment. Tuoba Changkong arrived on his sword. Attracted by Gu Qijin's words, he couldn't help but slow down. The ancient god world? Yes, it came from the ancient over-god. An ancient god who fell in our true sun great world 3,000 years ago. His status was comparable to the Master of Gods, who was at the second tier of the chaotic realm. It was said that the ancient god world master was blessed by the Master of Gods, and the power of his god kingdom could slightly interfere with the power of the Chaos Temple, making it difficult for cultivators trapped in the ancient god world to sense the presence of the Chaos Temple for a short period of time. But that's not the point. The point is, if we can gather the ancient god world fragment, we can open the god kingdom of the fallen over-god and obtain the endless treasures in it. With the wealth of an over-god, the treasures in it would be enough for someone to cultivate to the level of world creation with a thought, or even for someone who could reach the chaotic realm. Tsinghui's eyes lit up when he heard this. At this moment, Gu Qijin and Giant Wood's spiritual master, who were fighting in the void, noticed Tsinghui in Tuoba Changkong. Gu Qijin's expression changed when he saw the two of them. How could they be so fast? According to our informants, they would need at least an hour to reach here. Gu Qijin, the news of the ancient god world fragment has already spread. There will definitely be top powers who can create a world with a thought coming to capture you and force you out of the ancient god world fragment. I'd like to see what you're going to do then. You've really shot yourself in the foot with what you've done today, aha. Giant Wood spiritual master could not help but laugh when he saw Tsing-Hui and Tuoba Changkong appear. Damn it! Gu Qijin's eyes flashed with anger as he glanced coldly at Giant Wood spiritual master. It doesn't matter if the news gets out or not, you're dead meat. I'll use the ancient god world fragment to trap you and deal with the two of them, then I'll deal with you. It doesn't matter if they spread the news before they die, because no one will believe the words of the dead. With that, he turned and shot up into the air, heading straight for Tsing-Hui. Master, leave quickly, I'll stop him. Tuoba Changkong saw Gu Qijin coming for him and immediately shouted as he rushed forward. Old man, you're courting death. Gu Qijin growled. In the next moment, a shadow of a Jiao-ing appeared behind him. The Jiao-ing quickly entered Gu Qijin's body. With the power of the Jiao-ing, Gu Qijin's body immediately grew. In the blink of an eye, he grew from an ordinary man of about 178 meters to a giant of about 200 meters. Furthermore, 8 python-like heads grew from his back. His body was also covered in scales. He looked like a terrifying half-human, half-nine-ing monster. Jiao-ing True Body. This was the Jiao-ing True Body formed by the Divine True Body realm. To use the Jiao-ing True Body to deal with a void-shattering realm cultivator, Gu Qijin was determined to kill Tuoba Changkong and Tsing-Hui. Roar! Just as Gu Qijin transformed into the Jiao-ing True Body, Giant Wood spiritual master, who was trapped in the ancient god world fragment, also roared. His body grew explosively, and he grew into a 240-meter giant. Unlike the Jiao-ing True Body, Giant Wood spiritual master's divine true body had a layer of Xuanwu tortoise shell on his back, and a thick tail grew out of his back. He used both his hands and tail to attack the ancient god world fragment crazily. He wanted to take advantage of Gu Qijin's distraction to tear the ancient god world fragment apart and escape. Void collapse skill. Break for me. Tuoba Changkong faced Gu Qijin, who had transformed into the Jiao-ing True Body. Divine aura surged from his body, and as his power skyrocketed, he also used his own super ability. The space in a radius of several thousand meters in front of him collapsed instantly, as if a hole had been swallowed. Any living being or matter in this area was torn to pieces by the spatial storm that spread out from the collapsed space. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Gu Qijin's eyes flashed with a trace of disdain. One of the 8 python heads behind him suddenly hissed, and circles of invisible ripples spread out, directly stopping Tuoba Changkong's void-shattering realm attack, and causing the spatial storm inside to freeze. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he directly crossed the range of Taba Zhangkong's divine ability attack and arrived in front of Taba Zhangkong. Several giant python heads swooped down at the same time. The pure explosive power swept through space and swept towards Taba Zhangkong in an instant. Pure speed and power were displayed vividly on him. Bang! Tuoba Changkong tried his best to evade, but he was only able to last for a few moments before a giant serpent's head locked onto him. Blazing and berserk flames of destruction shot out from the giant serpent's head, turning into a giant rainbow of flames that could burn the sky and boil the sea. Not only did it completely engulf Tuoba Changkong, but the scattered power also rushed into the ground without any reduction in momentum, directly burning the ground within a radius of several dozen kilometers to ashes. If it weren't for the many ancient Sangshuan trees planted in the area, the flames would have wiped out everything within a radius of several dozen kilometers. The power of the divine true body level, Tsing-Hui's expression was a little grave. He was confident in his battle strength, but without using the transformation art, he was on par with Tuoba Changkong, and this was even after taking into account his advantage of the chaotic stage. But now, Tuoba Changkong, who was at the peak of the shattering void stage, was directly defeated by Gu Qijin, and was almost burned to ashes by the torrent of flames. If it were him, the result wouldn't be much better. With this thought, his figure flashed, and he appeared beside Tuoba Changkong, who had escaped from the torrent of flames. Tuoba Changkong's entire body seemed to have been burned to charcoal, and he shouted, "Enter my personal space, and I'll take you away." "Leave? Do you think you can leave?" Gu Qijin, who had transformed into his divine true body, roared. The 8 heads behind him spewed out frost and fire power at the same time, bringing with them a monstrous power that overturned the sky. Great Expansion Sword Qi. Go! Tsing Hui pointed his finger, and 49 Great Expansion Sword Qi roared out from his body, trying to crush the frost and fire power that Gu Qijin spewed out. But when his Great Expansion Sword Qi, which was so powerful that it could tear apart domains as easily as taking something out of his pocket, slashed into the frost and fire power, it was like an iron sword slashing into a diamond. It instantly collapsed, sputtering into countless scattered sword qi. Apart from slightly slowing down the power of ice and fire, the 49 sword qis didn't cause any damage to the power of ice and fire. This power, Tsing Hui's eyes narrowed slightly, and the scarlet abyss sword in his hand slashed out. Solar Eclipse. Suddenly, as if Tuoba Changkong had used the void collapse art, a pitch-black sphere seemed to appear in front of him, constantly destroying the frost and fire power that was surging towards him. Unfortunately, it was still useless. The power of a divine true body expert was far above that of a shattering void stage expert. That pitch-black sphere swallowed less than a third of the frost and fire power before collapsing on its own. The remaining frost and fire power continued to surge down without slowing down. But after this obstruction, the heavily injured Tuoba Changkong finally escaped into Tsing Hui's personal space. Without any hesitation, Tsing Hui used the halting art and the teleportation art. Accompanied by a spatial ripple, his figure completely disappeared in the torrent of fire and frost that followed closely behind. Sensing that Tsing Hui's aura had disappeared, Gu Qijin was slightly stunned and did not react for a moment. The next moment, he seemed to have thought of something, and his face was filled with shock. The teleportation art. That was, the teleportation art. The teleportation art that can only be used when one is at level 30 of the Chaos stage. This little thief's Chaos stage is actually at such a high level. Thinking of this, he was both shocked and furious. It had to be mentioned that even among existences who could create worlds with a single thought, not all of them could reach the 30th level of Chaos. Most of the peak experts who could create worlds with a single thought were actually only at the 29th level of Chaos, while a small number of them were only at the 24th or 25th level. It was exactly because of this that Gu Qijin had never considered the possibility of 2 Veneri-shattering experts possessing a teleportation technique. As a result, when Qing Su used a teleportation technique to escape earlier, he was actually still studying the surroundings carefully, trying to understand what Qing Su had used to hide himself. He did not connect it to a teleportation technique at all, which resulted in him missing the best opportunity to pursue Qing Su. Looking at the empty void now, and thinking of the news about the ancient god world that was about to be exposed, Gu Qijin was shocked and furious. He fiercely turned to Daoist Giant Wood, who was bombarding the ancient god world, and said, "If my ancient god world's power wasn't hindered by you, how could I let a cooked duck fly away? That kid seems to only be at the vacuum-shattering realm, but he can raise the level of Chaos to level 30. He must have a big secret. It's all because of you that I missed this great opportunity. Go to hell." Whoosh! In a wilderness that was over 1,000,000 kilometers away from the Cloud Mist secret forest, there was a flash of spatial fluctuation, and a figure immediately appeared. It was Tsing Hui. As Tsing Hui appeared, he immediately waved his hand, and the charred Tuoba Changkong appeared in front of him. However, what happened earlier was just far too shocking for Tuoba Changkong, such that he did not even have the time to check on his wounds when he suddenly appeared. Instead, he looked at Qing Su in shock. "Master. Why, you've actually increased your personal space to the 10th level. Level 10 personal space is very useful for breaking through to the world creation stage. Why not?" Tsing Hui said, and at the same time added, "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Alright, let's find a place to heal." Tuoba Changkong looked around, and when he realized that they had returned to the forest half a day ago, he seemed to have guessed something, and his eyes were filled with shock again. Could it be a teleportation technique that only level 30 Sons of Chaos could use? However, Xing Hui had already warned him, so he did not dare to ask again. He could only suppress his thoughts and heal his injuries. Divine True Body, While Tuoba Changkong was healing his injuries, Xing Hui raised his head and looked in Gu Qijin's direction. In his first battle in the True Sun Great World, he was forced to use teleportation to escape. He was really in a sorry state. However, the scene in front of him clearly warned him that this was no longer the divine wilderness where he could roam freely. Instead, it was the True Sun Great World where experts were as common as clouds, and there were even Chaos Realm giants overseeing it. Chapter 776. 3 days passed very quickly. Because the level of recovery was not high, it took Tuoba Changkong 3 days to completely recover, which left Xing Hui somewhat speechless. Recovered? Your subordinate has already recovered. Thank you for saving me, Master. Tuoba Changkong expressed his heartfelt gratitude. You don't have to thank me. Xing Hui said, then asked, in your opinion, what is the cultivation level of the man who cultivated the divine true body 3 days ago? He should have reached a certain level of maturity in the divine true body realm. This can be seen from the form of his divine true body. Oh. Tell me about it. Strictly speaking, the divine true body realm can be divided into 4 small stages. The first small stage is exactly the same as the form of a divine beast. This form is also called the initial stage of the divine true body realm. After that is the second stage, which is half human and half beast. The 2 experts of the divine true body realm 3 days ago belong to this stage. This realm can be easily reached as long as one has enough resources and time. It is just a matter of how much time is spent. Xing Hui nodded. According to his understanding, the cultivation of the divine true body realm was also linked to resources. Experts of the 3rd stage of the divine true body realm will have some characteristics of divine beasts on their bodies, but they are not very obvious. As for experts of the 4th stage of the divine true body realm, apart from being enlarged, there is almost no difference between them and humans. Each of the 4 stages of the divine true body realm has a significant difference. A higher stage can basically allow one to fight 2 or even 3 opponents at the same time. The divine true body in the form of a divine beast is much stronger than the divine true body in the form of a divine beast. Correspondingly, the amount of resources required increases exponentially. Just like the golden elixir realm of the saint realm back then, out of 100 cultivators of the divine true body realm, there is not necessarily one who has cultivated the true divine beast true body. I remember that if one does not cultivate the true divine beast true body, it is impossible to step into the chaotic realm, right? Xing Hui had heard the 7-star sword spirit say that the so-called laws of this world were transformed from the 12 divine beast ancestors. In other words, only the bloodline of the 12 divine beast ancestors could be recognized by these laws and step into the chaotic first realm. Primal Chaos Realm, Taba Zhongkong laughed bitterly. Chaotic Realm. That's a top figure. Most people don't even dare to think about it. In fact, many experts with divine true body cultivate to this realm not because of the amazing battle power gained from this realm, but because of the increase in lifespan brought by this realm. Just like the golden elixir realm in the saint realm. Once one enters the divine true body realm, their lifespan is often in the tens of thousands. For some long-lived species like Xuanwu, even living for 100,000 years is not an extravagant hope. Xing Hui nodded slightly. No wonder he felt that there seemed to be too many practitioners of the divine true body realm in this world. At least, compared to the divine true body realm, there were at most 2 or 3 times more practitioners of the vacuum-shattering realm. It was a complete waste of the difference between the 2 realms and the difficulty of cultivation. If you've rested enough, let's continue our journey. Again. Tuoba Zhongkong could not help but be slightly stunned by Tsing Hui's words. It was quite a while before he said, "Master, I'm afraid that we'll have to consider this matter at length. I think that Gu Qijin will definitely not let us off so easily." Tsing Hui frowned. Would he dare to take advantage of us? It's not that he wants to take advantage of us. It's just that, he has the ancient god fragment and has to think of a way to get rid of us as soon as possible to prevent the news from spreading. Tuoba Zhongkong laughed bitterly. After hearing Tuoba Zhongkong's words, Tsing Hui fell silent. This matter is indeed troublesome. Actually, it's not really troublesome. The key is what you think. If you don't want to plot against the ancient over-god's kingdom, you just have to leak the news and someone will naturally go and deal with Gu Qijin. By then, he will be in so much trouble that he won't have the time to deal with us. I'm afraid that after his ancient god fragment is taken away by a top expert, he will still bear a grudge against us and attack us. As long as we hide in Qiu Dao, they won't dare to act rashly. After all, Qiu Dao is backed by a top expert who can create a world with a single thought. It's not something that a small Gu family can afford to offend. Tsing Hui really didn't want to get too entangled with the Gu family. At the same time, he didn't want to waste too much time on Gu Qijin. What he wanted to do was to gather resources as quickly as possible so that he could obtain the power to create a world with a single thought. But now, it was Gu Qijin who didn't want to let them go. Actually, if you're willing, there's another way to solve your problem. Oh. What way? Assassination. I understand. Tsing Hui fell silent. Strike first and gain the upper hand. But no matter what, if he did that, he would form a feud. By then, if I'm not strong enough, it's really hard to move around. Especially in the true Sun Great World. If I hastily use the shape-shifting technique and people find out that my chaotic level has reached level 50, I'll definitely be in big trouble. By then, those who have their eyes on me won't be as simple as a divine true body. This was also the reason why Tsing Hui didn't use the shape-shifting technique when facing Gu Qijin. Although the shape-shifting technique gave him the ability to fight against a divine true body expert, it was still far from being able to kill a divine true body expert. Unless his life essence metamorphosed to the divine beast level, or his physique reached level 13 and he forcibly transformed into the omnipotent divine beast Kunpeng, he really couldn't guarantee that he would be able to kill a divine true body expert. Since it's dangerous for us to go to those small forces to buy the Azure Wood Essence, then we'll just go ahead and ask them to prepare the Azure Wood Essence. Then, we'll ask the Void Walkers to make the transaction through the Chaos Temple. This method is feasible, but it'll cost a lot to ask the Void Walkers to make the transaction. Without more than 10 Taoist rhymes, the Void Walkers may not be willing to make the transaction. Don't worry, I'll take care of this matter. Just use your channels to post the request for the Azure Wood Essence. We won't make the transaction if it's less than 100 cubes of Azure Wood Essence. Moreover, the other party must have a certain level of credibility. Tsing Hui said. Tuoba Zhongkong's heart ached when he heard this. 100 cubes of Azure Wood Essence was only about 30 Taoist rhymes, and asking the Void Walkers to make the transaction would cost at least 10 Taoist rhymes. In other words, the handling fee accounted for 1/3 of the total transaction. This kind of transaction, it was a huge loss. Only someone like his master, who didn't lack money, would choose this kind of transaction. Let's go back. Tsing Hui said, then turned around and flew in the direction of Blackwood City. Since his skills were inferior, he could only stay at home for the time being. A few days later, Tsing Hui returned to the East Sun Peak. Meanwhile, Tuoba Zhongkong was in charge of distributing the information. Due to the fact that green ruins required a rather large amount, there were not a lot of merchants who could actually afford to sell his Azure Wood Essence. Fortunately, he had offered a price of 100 cubes of Azure Wood Essence, which was 35 cubes of Dao-bearing items. Obviously, countless people began to think of ways to collect Azure Wood Essence from everywhere. On the fourth day after the news was released, Tsing Hui finally found the first seller. Relying on the mystery of standing straight and shadowless, he directly asked for the trader's coordinates and used the incarnation technique to simulate a middle-aged man to descend on the transaction site. Because he only chose an ordinary incarnation and didn't descend on others, everyone present could clearly see that he was an incarnation. I've been entrusted to make a transaction. Who is the trader? Tsing Hui said slowly with an indifferent expression. There were a total of 3 traders in front of him, and the one with the highest cultivation was only at the vacuum-shattering realm. When Tsing Hui's incarnation descended, the 3 of them carefully sized him up, as if trying to figure out his origin. What? I've heard that your Twilight Merchant Guild has been in business for more than 3,000 years. You're not toying with my employer, are you? When the time comes, even I won't agree to it, let alone my employer. As Tsing Hui spoke, he waved his hand in the air, and all kinds of mysteries were displayed in his hand. Even though he'd only sent an ordinary incarnation, the faintly revealed comprehension of laws made the 3 vacuum-shattering realm powerhouses widen their eyes. The man in front of them had at least reached the unrivaled realm in his comprehension of laws. Furthermore, considering that he could summon an incarnation technique that was at least at the 25th level of the Chaos Realm, he was one of the best in the unrivaled realm. We wouldn't dare. Please take a look, Senior. The man in the lead hurriedly said and took out 100 cubes of azure wood essence. Very good. Tsing Hui judged the amount of azure wood essence, took out the item with 35 Taoist rhymes, and stored it in his personal space. He then said directly, the transaction is complete. Farewell. Having said that, his incarnation disappeared without a trace. Almost as soon as his incarnation disappeared, a man with a gloomy expression walked out from the shadows. It was Gu Qijin, the new elder of the Gu clan. Sir, it's not that we don't want to help you stop him. It's just that there's no point in stopping a mere incarnation. Moreover, as you've seen, based on his comprehension of laws, it's very likely that he's an important figure in the unrivaled realm. Even the Gu clan can't afford to offend such an important figure. All right, I understand. Gu Qijin said impatiently. Looking in the direction Tsing Hui's incarnation had left, he pondered with a gloomy expression, it seems like this kid doesn't intend to spread the news. Obviously, he also wants to obtain the ancient divine realm fragment. Or perhaps he's afraid of the Gu clan's power and doesn't want to offend the Gu clan over such a small matter. In that case, for the time being, news about the ancient divine realm should be safe. Thinking of this, he let out a slight sigh of relief, but he was also a little angry. That brat is the bishop of Taoism seeking, and the place where he lives is guarded by several experts at the divine true body level. There is also a reigning realm elder living in seclusion. With my ability, it's impossible to sneak in and kill him. Humph, but I'll let you live for a while longer. With the resources I've obtained, I'll have a high chance of advancing to the reigning realm in 30 to 40 years if I'm fast, and 60 to 70 years if I'm slow. Chapter 777. A total of 562 cubes. It shouldn't be difficult to use this amount to breed 30 wood spirits. As long as these 30 wood spirits are bred, in addition to the original ones, the growth time of the dragonization fruit tree will be shortened to 6 years. Once the dragonization fruit tree matured, it would bear dozens of dragonization fruits. After consuming those dragonization fruits, Tsing Hui's physique would not only rise to the 13th order, but could even rise to the 14th order in the next 1 or 2 years. In addition to the dragonization fruit's enhancement of life essence, he was confident that he would be able to fight against experts who had cultivated the divine true body with just the 49 great diffraction sword chi. Has anyone contacted us recently to sell the dragonization fruit tree spiritual liquid? Tsing Hui paid attention to the growth of the dragonization fruit tree while asking Tuoba Changkong, who was in charge of the Eastern Sun Peak. At present, we've bought most of the dragonization fruit tree spiritual liquid in the entire Tsangshuan continent. Other than the Gu clan, who may have some, we've contacted all the other clans that sell it. Taba Zhongkong replied respectfully. Is there no more? Tsing Hui looked at the few dozen wood spirits in his personal space with some regret. If the number of wood spirits could exceed 100. Master, in fact, not long ago, the deacon of the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce sent someone to invite us to attend an auction in Hundred Flowers City. There were many treasures for sale in that auction, including a heavenly spirit fruit tree and a 100,000-year crystal wood core. The heavenly spirit fruit tree is a companion fruit tree and has the effect of transforming spirit energy for cultivation. The wood spirits can feed on the Yuan Qi transformed by the heavenly spirit fruit tree, and the crystal wood core is one of the top treasures of heaven and earth. Although its effect on wood spirits is not as good as the dragonization fruit tree, it is much better than spirit marrow. Crystal wood core. There's actually such a thing. I remember that the crystal wood core's effect is almost twice as good as spirit marrow, right? Tsing Hui quickly asked. Yes, but compared to the dragonization fruit tree, the crystal wood core's price-performance ratio is lower. Moreover, each crystal wood core is expensive. At this point, Tuoba Chongkong had already vaguely guessed what Tsing Hui was going to say. As expected. Tsing Hui waved his hand. That's not a problem. As long as we have the crystal wood core, it's fine. When will the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce's auction begin? We are currently preparing for it. It will be officially held in half a year. Half a year? Tsing Hui frowned. Too slow. I remember that the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce has a good reputation. Yes, the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce is one of the top 3 chambers of commerce in the Zhongshuan continent, and even in the entire True Sun Great World. There has almost never been a scandal, and even if there were 1 or 2 times, it would be proven to be false accusations. Good. Go get me the coordinates of the Scarlet Jade Trade Union. We'll head there right away. Now. Taba Zhongkong was slightly startled. Isn't it a little too early? There's still half a year before the auction. I don't want to wait half a year. Go and ask for the coordinates. Yes. Tuoba Zhongkong helplessly agreed and quickly did as he was told. Not long after, a set of mental coordinates was sent to Tsing Hui. After obtaining the coordinates, Tsing Hui didn't waste any time and directly used an incarnation technique to send down a clone to the Scarlet Jade Trade Union in Hundred Flowers City. Because this trip had to be kept secret, he didn't bring Taba Zhongkong with him. Even so, when he arrived at the Scarlet Jade Trade Union in the form of a clone, he was warmly welcomed by the people of the Scarlet Jade Trade Union. After all, to be able to use an incarnation technique, one had to be at least at the 25th order of the Chaos stage. According to the standard of the Sons of Chaos in the True Sun Great World, a 25th order Son of Chaos had to be at least at the reigning realm. Even if the Scarlet Jade Trade Union had a world creation expert behind them, they still didn't dare to underestimate such a character. Welcome, Senior. I am a senior deacon of the Scarlet Jade Trade Union, Zi Chuan. Is there anything I can help you with? Big business has come knocking. Get your chairman to talk to me. Tsing Hui had the experience of pretending to be a big shot in the divine wilderness world. At this moment, he had the attitude of a reigning realm expert. He didn't even care about this divine true body expert called Zi Chuan. He didn't look like he was forced to flee in a sorry state by Gu Qijin not long ago. Yes, yes. Please wait a moment, Senior. Our chairman Yunhe is already on his way. Please come in. As Zi Chuan spoke, he led Tsing Hui directly to the highest private room. Not only was this private room isolated by a 15th order array, but the bonsai plants planted inside were also the best of the best. Even if Tsing Hui only stepped in with his incarnation, he still felt refreshed. Not long after Zi Chuan led Tsing Hui to the private room, a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 50s walked in from outside. He smiled and cupped his hands, saying, I am the vice chairman of the Scarlet Jade Trade Union, Yunhe. Greetings, sir. May I know your name? My name is just a code. Just call me Yuqing. Tsing Hui said, I'm here for the Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core of your trade union. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core. Yunhe was slightly startled. Then, a look of embarrassment appeared on his face. These two treasures will be auctioned by our Chamber of Commerce in half a year's time. They are not for sale at present. However, if Mr. Yuqing is interested, you can show your strength in half a year's time. I just did a little research. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree has been sold a total of 12 times in the past 10,000 years. The highest price was a 33 Dao charm item. The Crystal Wood Core has been sold a total of 4 times in the past few years. The highest price was 65 Dao charms. I won't beat around the bush. Sell these 2 items to me for a total of 100 Dao charms. Chairman Yunhe's expression turned serious. Is Mr. Yuqing speaking the truth? Tsing Hui waved his hand and a treasure box appeared in front of Yunhe. Suddenly, both Chairman Yunhe and Deacon Zichuan changed their expressions at the same time. At this time, they had received a notification that the Dao charm item in the treasure box contained a total of 100 Dao charms. The Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core that I offered were the highest price in the market. Furthermore, they were sold 6,000 years ago and 4,000 years ago. During these years, the Dao charm market in the True Sun Great World was in a slump. The value of Dao charms had increased by about 10%. If you auction these 2 items now, it would be considered good if you could sell them for 90 Dao charms. My offer of 100 is equivalent to you getting 10 Dao charms. Yunhe's expression changed for a moment. Soon, he made a decision. All right. Since Mr. Yuqing is so straightforward, how can I, Yunhe, be looked down upon by Mr. Yuqing? Zichuan, ask He Lao to send these 2 treasures over immediately. Yes. Zichuan responded respectfully and quickly sent out the message. Not long after, accompanied by waves of ripples, a white-haired old man with a sage-like demeanor walked in from outside. The aura of this old man was deep, obscure, and immeasurable. It was even stronger than the Maverick Realm Doyen that Tsing Hui had sensed in the Cloud Mountain Cave. Obviously, he not only had the cultivation of the Maverick Realm, but he was also one of the most outstanding figures in the Maverick Realm. As soon as the old man stepped into the private room, his aura triggered the power of law and naturally emitted circles of ripples. However, before this circle of ripples could get close to Tsing Hui, it dissipated as Tsing Hui gently knocked on the table. It didn't affect him at all. Seeing Tsing Hui's move, the old man's eyes suddenly lit up. Is this Mr. Yuqing? You are indeed extraordinary. No wonder you have the courage to take out an item with 100 Dao rhymes to purchase the Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core. After speaking, he waved his hand and took out a small fruit tree that was less than 2 meters tall and a crystal wood core with a diameter of 10 centimeters. Mr. Yuqing, please take a look. These are the Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core. Tsing Hui had already understood the characteristics of the Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core. He carefully observed and sensed them. They were indeed real. Coupled with the Scarlet Jade Trade Union's outstanding reputation, he nodded and said, I trust the Scarlet Jade Trade Union. Many thanks, Mr. Yuqing. Please rest assured. Our Scarlet Jade Trade Union will record every transaction with more than 10 Dao rhymes using the image recording stone. 1 copy of the image recording stone will be kept in our Scarlet Jade Trade Union, and the other copy will be given to you. If there is any problem with the purchase of these 2 treasures, you can use the image recording stone to claim compensation from our Scarlet Jade Trade Union. As the old man spoke, he gave the Heavenly Spirit Fruit Tree and the Crystal Wood Core to Tsing Hui. He also took away Tsing Hui's 100 Dao rhymes item. At the same time, President Yunhe also used the image recording stone to record this scene. He also gave one of the image recording stones to Tsing Hui. Alright, I look forward to working with you. Tsing Hui had a faint smile on his face. Although a piece of crystal wood heart couldn't create more than 30 wood spirits like the azure wood essence, it could still nurture 8 to 10 wood spirits. This way, the number of wood spirits in his personal space could reach more than 40, and the time it took for the dragonization fruit tree to grow would be shortened again. I look forward to working with you. The old man smiled. At this moment, President Yunhe stepped forward and said, Mr. Yuqing, our Scarlet Jade Trade Union has many other treasures other than the Heavenly Spirit fruit tree and the crystal wood core. I wonder if Mr. Yuqing is interested in learning about them. Oh. Tell me about them. Mr. Yuqing, please allow me to introduce them. President Yunhe waved his hand enthusiastically, and one by one, the items were projected into the private room through the power of the array. Each of these items was extremely precious, and their price was not lower than 10 Dao rhymes. Moreover, each of them had their own unique uses. President Yunhe introduced them one by one, and at the same time, he paid attention to Tsing Hui's expression. If Tsing Hui showed any interest, he would introduce them in more detail. If Tsing Hui was not interested, he would quickly skip over them. Under such circumstances, he quickly introduced more than half of the auction items and even the collection of the trade union. Among the 20 or so treasures, Tsing Hui was not interested in many of them. However, when he introduced the next treasure, Tsing Hui's eyes suddenly lit up. Mr. Yuqing, please take a look. This is the 29th treasure of our Scarlet Jade Trade Union. It is a strand of dark wilderness chi that our founding elder obtained from the spatial turbulence when he was traveling through space. It is extremely rare. Although the dark wilderness chi has no other effects, it is a sacred item in the hearts of all sacred beasts and divine beasts. It can greatly strengthen their physique and increase their evolution speed. If a 15th level sacred beast obtains a strand of dark wilderness chi, it will definitely be able to evolve to 16th level in a short period of time. Chapter 778. Dark Desolation Chi. Tsing Hui's gaze was immediately attracted by the Dark Desolation Chi, not a bad treasure. Although physique is not very important to cultivators, it can still be of great use at critical moments. Especially this kind of treasure that can directly strengthen the physique. What's the price? Mr. Yuqing really has a good eye. Although collecting this Dark Desolation Chi took a lot of effort from the founding members of the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce, and it was obtained by chance, we have just completed a big business with Mr. Yuqing worth 100 Tao rhymes. Mr. Yuqing is already a big customer of the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce, so we can give Mr. Yuqing an affordable price of 70 Tao rhymes. 70 Tao rhymes. A treasure of heaven and earth used to strengthen the physique needs 70 Tao rhymes. President Yunhe, you must be joking. You must know that the cultivators in our world rely on vital essence and bloodline as the foundation. Pure physique is useless unless it can be raised to the 15th or 16th level. Even if it reaches the 15th or 16th level, it's still useless. The essence of life is only equivalent to that of a spiritual beast, and it doesn't have the talent and divine powers of a spiritual beast. I'm afraid it can't even defeat the weakest divine true body expert. Tsing Hui frowned. At the same time, he immediately contacted Tuoba Changkong in the Chaos Divine Palace and asked Tuoba Changkong about the price of the Dark Desolation Chi. Mr. Yuqing, you're wrong. If you temper your physique to the 16th level, you may not be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with a divine true body expert, but you won't necessarily be inferior. In addition, in some special environments, the circulation of the chi of heaven and earth would be deliberately restricted, giving birth to a boundary of heaven and earth similar to a dead space. In those places, even if you have monstrous divine powers, once your vital essence is exhausted, you won't be able to use half of it. On the other hand, if you have a strong physique, no matter what environment you're in, it will be a guarantee of your strength. There's a saying that true strength is true strength when one is strong. Therefore, physique is the essence of a cultivator's life. President Yunhe patiently explained the various benefits that could be brought by the improvement of physique. At this moment, Taba Chongkong responded to Qing Su as quickly as he could. The price of profound Baron Qi is usually around 60 rhymes of ways. The most expensive strand of profound Baron Qi in history is 69 rhymes of ways. 69 Taoist rhymes. If I include the appreciation of the Taoist rhymes, Xing Hui quickly came up with a plan. I'm interested in this mysterious desolate Qi, but I'll only offer 65 Taoist rhymes. Guild Master Yunhe, just give me an accurate answer if you want to sell it. Yun He and the old man looked at each other, then smiled and replied, if it were anyone else, we wouldn't agree to 65 Taoist rhymes no matter what. However, we really don't want to lose such a high-quality guest like Mr. Yuqing. Therefore, since Mr. Yuqing has made the offer, then as Mr. Yuqing said, 65 Taoist rhymes it is. When Xing Hui heard Yun He's straightforward answer, he immediately understood that his price was still too high. According to the current appreciation rate of Taoist rhymes, even if he only offered 60 Taoist rhymes in the end, he was still 70 to 80% confident that he would be able to buy this mysterious desolate Qi. After all, although mysterious desolate Qi was rare and precious, its physique tempering effect was not considered urgent to many people, so it would be difficult to sell it at a satisfactory price. However, since he had already bought it, Xing Hui did not regret it. After selling the divine weapons and treasures he obtained from the Eternals and Heavenly Tao Saints, he had thousands of items that carried Taoist rhymes. He did not really care about the fluctuation in price of a few Taoist rhymes. This is 65 Taoist rhymes. President Yunhe, please take a look. Mr. Yuqing is straightforward. President Yunhe accepted the treasures with a smile, while Qing Su accepted the strand of profound wilderness Qi as well. Continue. Continue. Alright, please take a look, Mr. Yunhe waved his hand again, and a set of armor appeared in front of Xing Hui. This is the Li Chen battle armor. I'll buy it. Mister, take a look, a 17th order flying sword. It just so happens that the 16th order flying sword in my hand is not worthy of my status. I'll buy it. Mister, there's also, the 6 divine armor can protect the body with the power of the 6 gods. Even a divine true body expert would find it difficult to break through it. I have a disciple that I like, and his cultivation has just broken through recently. I was worried about what kind of gift to give him, and I just happened to buy this item. Mister, this item is also quite extraordinary. Under President Yunhe's introduction, Qing Su bought all of the treasures he fancied, not leaving out a single one. Among them, the Li Chen battle armor cost 60 Dao runes, the 17th order eternal light sword cost 125 Dao runes, and the 6 divine armor cost 38 Dao runes. In addition to some small items, as well as the heavenly spirit fruit tree, crystal wood heart, and mysterious desolate Qi, the total cost was 400 Dao runes. With such a huge transaction, even the president of the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce was alarmed. If it wasn't for the fact that he wasn't here, he would have rushed over to discuss it with Xing Hui personally. After buying these things, seeing that Xing Hui's foundation was still not empty, President Yunhe couldn't help but feel a little unwilling. However, they had already taken out all the valuable items in the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce, and most of them were treasures that would be auctioned off in half a year. Unfortunately, there were only a few items that could be bought by Xing Hui, and in the end, they could only regretfully let this transaction come to an end. I am very satisfied with this transaction. If your Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce can receive more mysterious desolate Qi and crystal wood heart, you can contact me again. At that time, I will come forward to buy them. Mr. Yuqing, do you still need the crystal wood heart? I happen to know of a place that has a crystal wood heart. I will speak on behalf of Mr. Yuqing and see if you can get it. Alright, in that case, I will have to trouble President Yunhe to get the crystal wood heart. I am willing to buy it for 70 Dao runes. When Yunhe heard this, he immediately became excited. If Mr. Yuqing is willing to buy the crystal wood heart for 70 Dao runes, this matter is 80 to 90% successful. Please wait for my good news. If it is slow, it will be 1 month, if it is fast, it will be half a month. I will definitely buy the crystal wood heart for Mr. Yuqing. Then I will wait for President Yunhe's good news. Tsing Hui said. As Tsing Hui was a big customer who had completed a transaction of 400 Dao runes, President Yunhe did not ask for Tsing Hui to pay the deposit in advance. Instead, he sent him off enthusiastically and gave Tsing Hui a black jade token. With this black jade token, not only would Tsing Hui be able to obtain great benefits and top-notch treatment in the many industries under the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce, but if he was in danger, he could also ask for help from the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce's local branch. The local branch would do their best to help the holder of the black jade token. Not bad. After putting away the black jade token, Tsing Hui bid farewell to President Yunhe and left immediately. Yunhe and the others sent his clone off and were unwilling to return for a long time. What a rich customer. A Dao item with 400 Dao runes. More than 90% of the reigning realm and world with A thought experts would not be able to compete with him in terms of wealth, right? After Yun He and the others returned to their offices, they said with a thoughtful look on their faces. The difference in wealth between reigning realm and world with A thought experts was usually not that great, so the two could be mentioned in the same breath. Of course, those at the peak of world with a thought were exceptions. Naturally, the income of Dao runes has gradually decreased over the years. Apart from the 3 Chaos Overlords, there are only a handful of people who can take out a Dao item with 400 Dao runes. Even those powerful existences who can create a world with a thought will find it extremely difficult to gather 400 Dao runes unless they sell their wealth, the reigning realm elder said with a sigh. In the end, he added, this person must have obtained a great opportunity to be able to take out so many Dao items in one go. However, his cultivation is astonishing. I'm afraid it's not below mine. Unless we're willing to let the forefather personally take action, otherwise, not below you, old man. Yunhe carefully weighed the pros and cons of asking the forefather to take action, but in the end, he said regretfully, let's follow up and see what happens. The forefather's small world is not very stable. It's not wise to act rashly, of course. It's a pity that he sent a clone. It won't be easy to find his real body and inquire about his identity. Don't worry, there will always be a chance. President Cloud Crane said. The reigning realm elder nodded and said no more. Whoosh! Tsing Hui's clone returned to its original position and activated the backtrack art again. The weakened state brought about by the reigning art immediately disappeared. Very good. Feeling the benefits of this trip to the Scarlet Jade Merchant Guild, Tsing Hui couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. The true Sun Great World is different from the Divine Wilderness Great World. Due to the Divine Wilderness Great World's glorious history, there are many level 13 to level 18 divine weapons left behind. As for the Divine Wilderness Great World Saints, each of them has a level 13, 14, and even level 15 divine weapon. However, the true Sun Great World Saints are different. If a divine true body expert can have a level 16 divine weapon, they can be considered rich. Most reigning realm experts can't afford a level 16 divine weapon, so they might as well strengthen themselves and rely on the power of their true body. As for world creation realm experts, the proportion of them who have a level 18 divine weapon is even lower. When they fight, it's purely a clash of worlds. On one hand, level 18 divine weapons aren't of much help to them, and level 19 divine weapons are too rare. On the other hand, most world creation realm experts are already having a hard time maintaining their worlds, so how could they be willing to spend their remaining money to buy a level 18 divine weapon that isn't of much help to them? The number of reigning realm experts who use level 18 divine weapons is definitely more than the number of world creation realm experts. It was precisely because divine true body experts couldn't afford to use divine weapons that were too good that Tsing Hui bought the level 17 Eternal Light Sword and the level 17 6 Divine Armor. It was enough for him to have a decent life-saving ability even against divine true body experts. Of course, it was only limited to life-saving. In his current state, if he wanted to go against divine true body experts, he would need at least a full set of level 18 divine weapon armor. However, to Tsing Hui, the greatest gain wasn't these divine weapons, nor was it the heavenly spirit fruit tree and crystal wood core that he transferred into his personal space. Instead, it was that strand of dark wilderness chi. A strand of dark wilderness chi that could greatly strengthen his physique. As he thought about it, he couldn't wait to pull out this strand of dark wilderness chi from his personal space and directly refine it into his own body. Let me see what kind of effect this strand of dark wilderness chi, which is enough to let a level 15 divine beast evolve to level 16 and greatly shorten the advancement time of a level 15 divine beast, is refined by a human like me. Chapter 779. A month later, Tsing Hui's essence, energy, and spirit had completely changed. Although the effect of the dark wilderness chi on humans could not be compared to that of sacred beasts and mythical beasts, it was still extremely shocking. Before refining the profound barren chi, Qing Su's body was only on par with class 12 saint beasts. Moreover, he had barely reached the level of a class 12 saint beast. However, as he refined the profound barren chi, his body and vital energy skyrocketed. Once he had completely refined the strand of profound barren chi, his body had actually reached the peak of class 13. As long as Qing Su had some heavenly resources that could refine the body, his body would evolve once more and reach class 14. It would only be a matter of time. Due to the fact that he had so many treasures of the way on him, Qing Su had bought quite a lot of spiritual items that could refine the body after several dozen years' worth of treasures. Although these heavenly treasures could not be compared to the dark wilderness chi in terms of value, there were many of them. With the accumulation of these heavenly treasures, his physique, which had already reached the peak of the 13th level, transformed again and reached the 14th level in one go. The 14th level physique allowed Tsing Hui's body to finally form a special innate ability. The resistance he faced when traversing through the void was reduced to an extremely low level. Coupled with the power of chasing light, Tsing Hui could explode with a speed that was not inferior to that of a divine true body expert even if he did not use the eternal light sword of the 17th level. If he used the eternal light sword of the 17th level, those divine true body experts who were not proficient in speed would be left behind by him. Buzz buzz. In the cultivation room, Tsing Hui's body moved. Streaks of blood-red sword light emerged from his body and turned into streaks of sword chi. 49 Dian sword chi. Compared to before, his Dian sword chi was now several times more refined and contained chi and blood power. If he used the Dian sword chi now to fight against Gu Qijin's divine true body, he would definitely be able to fight on par with the frost and flames that Gu Qijin spat out. Furthermore, with the strengthening of his physique, the shape-shifting technique's ability to accept the form of a mythical beast was also much better. At the very least, under the state of the divine art, the 17th level Kunpeng he transformed into should be able to hold on for a few breaths. It's equivalent to the divine beast Kunpeng of the unrivaled realm. It killed Gu Qijin of the second level of the divine true body in a few breaths of time. If it's supported by the freezing spell, it's about the same. However, we have to be careful of the fragment of the ancient divine world on Gu Qijin's body. The fragment can form a barrier that can temporarily seal the target. The sealing ability is so strong that even a pinnacle expert of the divine true body realm won't be able to break it in a short time. A cold light flashed in Tsing Hui's eyes. With his current strength, it was more than enough to kill Gu Qijin. However, due to the existence of the ancient god world, there might be some variables. What's there to be afraid of? I have a teleportation technique. At worst, I'll just teleport away. As long as I'm a bit nimble and don't let anyone discover my true identity, so what if my transformation technique is exposed? Thinking of this, Tsing Hui stood up and left his cultivation room. After cleaning himself up, he went to the main courtyard. Tuoba Changkong, did Gu Qijin send anyone to keep an eye on our Dongyang Peak? Master, we found two groups of suspicious people. One of them is a group of people seeking Taoism, and the other should be the Gu family's people sent by Gu Qijin. Seeking Taoism? Xing Hui thought for a while and quickly understood. He had spent a total of 200 Taoist rhymes in seeking Taoism. This number was unimaginable for any virtual shattering realm practitioner, so it was reasonable that he had attracted the attention of others. However, because he had been in seclusion in his room all this time and rarely went out, they had no idea where to start and could only keep an eye on him from outside. Very well, Gu Qijin. I really can't do anything to him. You stay at Dongyang Peak. I'll go out for a while. Tuoba Changkong's expression changed when he heard that Xing Hui was going out. He hurriedly said, Master, you can't. Gu Qijin is watching outside. If we hide for 8 or 10 years, he might lose his patience and leave. But now, it's only been a few days. If you go out, Gu Qijin will definitely kill you. At that time, I'm afraid you won't have such a good opportunity again. If you really have something important to do, Master, you can either contact the Voidwalker you know, or wait for your teleportation technique to cool down before going out. At least that way, you'll have a way out. When Qin Su used the teleportation technique last time, he had used the halting technique, so the teleportation technique was still on cooldown. He could still use it now, which was why he was confident. However, he obviously could not tell Tuoba Changkong about this. Don't worry. I've already contacted a top expert. If Gu Qijin dares to come and kill me, I'll make sure he doesn't return. A top expert? Tuoba Changkong was taken aback. Then, as if he thought of something, he asked worriedly, Master wants to use yourself as bait to kill Gu Qijin? That's right. But won't we completely offend the Gu clan? So what if we offend them? After he sees that top expert, he'll have to have the courage to take revenge. Xing Hui said. The Gu clan couldn't be considered a top family in the entire Tsangshuan continent. They only had one grand elder in the reigning realm. Given his current ability, although he wasn't a match for them, it was more than enough to protect himself. Moreover, as long as Xing Hui could put on a good show, the Gu clan wouldn't dare to take revenge. After saying goodbye to Tuoba Changkong, Qin Su directly left the Eastern Sun Peak and made his way to Chongguang City. The Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce was one of the top chambers of commerce in the Tsangshuan continent. The only other chamber of commerce that could be mentioned on equal terms with the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce was the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce in Heavy Light City. He had gained a lot from the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce and wanted to see if he could gain anything from the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce. Because he wanted to lure Gu Qijin out, Xing Hui didn't fly at full speed along the way. It would take some time to reach Heavy Light City, which was 1.8 million kilometers away. These few days were the time he left for Gu Qijin. Almost as soon as Xing Hui left Dongyang Peak, Gu Qijin, who was in closed-door cultivation, received the news from his servant. When he heard that Xing Hui had left Dongyang Peak, his face lit up with joy and he immediately wanted to kill Xing Hui. However, just as he was about to leave, he suddenly thought of something. This person named Dong Yang has been in seclusion for a while now. I'm afraid he already knows that I'm going to attack him. Why did he suddenly leave Dongyang Peak? Could it be that he already has a trump card to deal with me? Thinking of the Voidwalker who had appeared all over the Tsangshuan continent to purchase the Azure Wood spiritual liquid, Gu Qijin's expression suddenly turned grave. A moment later, he had another idea. For safety's sake, I should send someone to test him first. On one hand, I can see if there's really a problem with him. At the very least, I can use up his teleportation technique. He had already notified a gray force active in the Blackwood City area, and directly informed him of Xing Hui's wealth. This gray force could be said to be famous in the Blackwood City area. Although it was not publicly known, it was very famous in the underground world. The reason was that there were a total of 6 vacuum-shattering experts in their organization. This force, if alone, was difficult for any vacuum-shattering expert to deal with, so it was enough to test the waters. The Grey organization called the White Fiend Association moved extremely quickly. Before they had even made it a third of the way to Heavy Light City from Green Ruins, they had already been stopped by the group of 6 vacuum-shattering cultivators and over 30 Grand Dominion and Void Transformation cultivators. If this force was placed in the Divine Wilderness world, it would be enough to flatten the Divine Wilderness world. However, in the true Sun Great World, which maintained its peak state, it could only be regarded as a decent ordinary force. It was still a little short of establishing a sect. Dongyang, right? To be able to live in a high-level cave residence in the Cloud Mountain Cave Heaven, you must have a lot of wealth. It just so happens that we brothers don't have much money left over these years. We would like to ask you for some help. I believe you won't refuse, right? The president of the White Demon Association stepped forward and laughed. Tsing Hui's gaze lingered on the president for a while. He was a little surprised that the one who came to stop him was not Gu Qijin. However, after a while, he seemed to have thought of something. With a thought, he activated the aura observation technique and quickly glanced in all directions. Not long after, he saw a familiar chi pillar soaring into the sky. The chi of a divine true body level appeared in the chi pillar, and the shadow of a Jiuying appeared in the chi pillar. It was Gu Qijin. Very good. You actually sent someone to test me while you hid on the side? Since you don't trust me, I'll make you feel at ease. Thinking of this, Tsing Hui's expression suddenly became severe. You really don't know what's good for you. It just so happens that I've made a breakthrough in one of my divine abilities not long ago. I wanted to find an expert who had cultivated a divine true body level to test me and see how far I am from a true divine true body level expert. Since you've delivered yourself to me, I won't be polite. As soon as he finished speaking, he directly attacked. 49 sword chis whizzed out, stabbing toward the dozens of experts of the White Demon Association in front of him. Qing Su had not condensed the sword chi with his full strength, but their power had reached an extremely shocking level. The 49 strands of sword chi whistled up, slaughtering everything in their way. Let alone the 6 void-shattering experts and several dozen sainthood experts, even if there were twice as many of them, the 49 strands of sword chi would still be able to suppress them easily. I see. You've cultivated such a sword chis. I remember that not long ago, although the power of your sword chi was not bad, even if it was formed into a sword array, it could only threaten to shatter the vacuum. But now, even a divine true body expert would have to expend a lot of energy to defeat your sword chi. With this divine ability, you do indeed have the ability to barely fight against a divine true body expert. It's a pity that you met me. The tricks I have hidden are not as simple as an ordinary divine true body expert. Gu Qijin, who was hiding nearly 100 kilometers away, looked like he had seen through the truth. His face was full of smiles. Now that he knew where his opponent's trump card was, he did not waste any more time. He silently moved toward the battlefield where Tsing Hui and the divine true body level experts of the White Demon Association were fighting. Chapter 780. Huh, Dong Yang, you didn't expect this, did you? Die. Gu Qijin, who had taken the opportunity to sneak onto Tsing Hui's battlefield, leaped up and summoned the ancient god world. He was about to envelop Tsing Hui and the people from the White Demon Association. However, the moment he summoned the ancient god world, a gentle chuckle rang out from Qing Su, and here I was wondering how long you were going to hide. I never thought you wouldn't even have the patience. Since you've come, I won't play with you any longer. Mr. Yu Qing, please show yourself. As soon as he finished speaking, a spatial ripple spread out. It seemed like a personal space had opened. Then, a figure stepped out of the spatial ripple. This figure was Yu Qing, which Tsing Hui had transformed into. This so-called Yu Qing was just a doppelganger created by Tsing Hui's One Qi into Three Clears immortal technique. Although it was just a clone, it possessed all sorts of mysteries. Under the concealment of the shadowless stance celestial technique, his entire being seemed to be filled with an undetectable, untouchable, and unfathomable aura. Moreover, as he appeared, he only glanced at Gu Qijin indifferently and said indifferently, "A small fry like him isn't worthy of me personally taking action. Let one of my pets play with him." As soon as he finished speaking, the spatial ripple appeared again. As the ripple spread out, a huge shadow was cast down. Under the stunned gazes of the people from the White Demon Association and Gu Qijin, a divine beast, Kuanpeng, whose aura was at the 5th level of the Saint Realm, unparalleled realm, appeared. This Kuanpeng was 500 to 600 meters long. If it spread its wings, it would be more than 1,000 meters long. Its huge body carried a suffocating pressure as it arrived with a loud bang. The murderous aura that shook the void seemed to turn into a pillar of air that shot into the clouds. Not to mention the White Demon Association, Gu Qijin, and the others who bore the brunt of it, their hands and feet turning cold. Even the cultivators who were more than 1,000 kilometers away turned their heads in shock after sensing this aura. They were filled with fear. Kuanpeng. Kuanpeng. Divine Beast Kuanpeng. Divine Beast Kuanpeng of level 17 unparalleled realm. Oh my God! The target has such a terrifying expert protecting him. Run! 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 The surviving cultivators of the White Fiend Association all screamed in terror and tried to leave the battlefield as fast as they could. However, this divine beast, the rock, that was filled with a ferocious aura, obviously wouldn't let them off so easily. Along with a long howl, the thousands of wings on his body seemed to have transformed into numerous peerless divine swords that tore through space, and they carried the traces of the laws that tore through space. In an instant, they pierced through and annihilated all the Saint Realm experts of the White Soul Association. Starting from the void-shattering realm of the Divine Realm, the gap between them would constantly widen. Although it had not reached the level of the gap between the Golden Elixir Realm and the Divine Realm, it was not far off. Under normal circumstances, 40 to 50 void-shattering realm experts would have to fight against a Divine True Body expert if they swarmed together. It was the same for the gap between the Unconquerable Realm and the Divine True Body expert. The Kuanpeng that Tsing Hui had transformed into not only had the power of the Unconquerable Realm, but was also a divine beast. The gap between the Unconquerable Realm and the Divine True Body expert was 2,000 to 3,000 times greater. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was unstoppable. Ah, it's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Your Excellency Dongyang, you've misunderstood. Gu Qijin saw the terrifying power of the Kuanpeng divine beast. What was even more terrifying was that there was a terrifying expert who could control the Kuanpeng. He was so scared that his soul almost left his body. He turned around and ran. Buzz, buzz. But before Gu Qijin could escape, the Kuanpeng divine beast had already spread its wings and let out an ear-piercing screech. As it screeched, circles of ripples spread out with it as the center. The sound waves collided with the space and instantly froze everything within a radius of dozens of kilometers. Even Gu Qijin, a divine true body expert, felt as if he had fallen into a quagmire and could barely move. Ancient divinity, out. At this critical moment, Gu Qijin showed the courage of a hero and directly summoned the ancient divinity to envelop the Kuanpeng divine beast. He did not even look back. While he revealed his divine true body, the aura of the divine spell also surged as he frantically ran for his life. As for killing Tsing Hui, with such a terrifying expert who could summon the Kuanpeng divine beast by Tsing Hui's side, it was definitely courting death. Escape? Do you think you can escape? Yu Qing's expression was indifferent. The aura of the Kuanpeng divine beast suddenly surged. That surge of power was somewhat familiar to Gu Qijin, as if it was the divine spell. But how could a divine beast use the divine spell? It must be that Senior Yuqing had blessed it with some secret skill similar to the divine spell. Under the blessing of this secret skill, the power of the space confinement on him surged, making it difficult for him to move. Blessings of the gods. Break! At this critical moment, Gu Qijin let out a low roar. It seemed that he had used some secret skill. His aura surged to the peak of the divine true body level and vaguely reached the level of the Tsinghui realm. As the gap between their cultivation levels narrowed, the Kunpeng divine beast trapped in the ancient divinity could no longer stop him with the power of the space confinement. Seeing this, Tsinghui, whose true body had already transformed into the Kunpeng divine beast, paled slightly. He had been unwilling to waste 100 Taoist rhymes to raise his chaos level to level 75, but he did so without hesitation. After raising his chaos level, he immediately used the freezing spell on Gu Qijin, who had the divine spell. Gu Qijin, who had been relying on the blessing of the gods and the divine spell to reach the level of the Tsinghui realm, rapidly lost a large portion of his strength. The panic he felt when he lost the power of the Son of Chaos filled him with fear. What's going on? What's going on? I can't sense the Chaos Temple. Do you have a fragment of the ancient divinity on you too? Gu Qijin's eyes were filled with shock and anger. A fragment of the ancient divinity? Tsinghui had heard from Tuoba Changkong that the fragment of the ancient divinity had the miraculous effect of interfering with others' ability to sense the Chaos Temple. However, although he was now trapped in the fragment of the ancient divinity, he could use the various divine powers of the Son of Chaos without any hindrance other than the fact that he had to expend some mental energy to sense the Chaos Temple. Perhaps this was the advantage of being a high-ranking Son of Chaos. The ancient divinity is very sturdy. Fortunately, I used the backtrack spell before using the transforming spell to rewind the state of my body before it collapsed. Otherwise, I might not have been able to do anything to Gu Qijin in a few breaths' time. As Tsinghui thought of this, the Kunpeng divine beast attacked the ancient divinity even more violently. After 3 breaths' time, the ancient divinity finally collapsed with a loud bang. Freed from the ancient divinity's restraints, the Kunpeng divine beast with a wingspan of 1,000 meters flew across the void and descended. Rumble. An attack that shook the void came crashing down. Gu Qijin's 9-headed snakelet real body tried to stop it, but in front of the mythical beast Kunpeng, which had a wingspan of 1,000 meters, he was like a little bug. He was torn apart by the mythical beast Kunpeng's terrifying claws, and 4 of his 8 heads were smashed into pieces. At the same time, the sword wings that had previously killed dozens of the White Fiend Association's divine beasts whizzed back and rained down on Gu Qijin's huge Jiuying divine beasts. In an instant, his Jiuying divine body was riddled with holes. Finally, with another attack from the Kunpeng divine beast, the huge Jiuying divine body collapsed and exploded. However, an expert who had cultivated a divine true body had the ability to be reborn from a single drop of blood. After Gu Qijin's divine true body had been destroyed, he had returned to his normal size. Other than being covered in wounds and blood, he had not died along with the destruction of his divine true body. You actually destroyed my divine true body. Not only did I destroy your divine true body, but I also wanted to take your life. No. I still have a limitless future. I can't die. You can't kill me. If you kill me, the Gu family will never let you go. Gu Qijin was terrified as he screamed in a trembling voice. The Gu family's patriarch is just an ordinary reigning realm cultivator. Do you think I'm afraid of him? Yuqing's clone said calmly. That one sentence left Gu Qijin speechless. This Mr. Yuqing before him was a terrifying existence that could control a reigning divine beast. There was no need to guess how terrifying his own strength was. At the very least, with Gu Qijin's experience, he was unable to see through the slightest bit of this person's aura. In your next life, open your eyes wider. There are many people in this world that you can't afford to offend. Yuqing's expression was indifferent. Suddenly, the Kunpeng divine beast's huge body swooped down again. No! Don't kill me. When I obtained the ancient God world fragment, I also obtained a lot of resources. These resources are enough for me to cultivate to the reigning realm. I'm willing to give them all to Senior. Where are your resources? They're in my personal space. Yu Qing's clone's face darkened when he heard that. The Kunpeng divine beast that Xing Hui had transformed into didn't hesitate to tear Gu Qijin's head off on the spot. After killing Gu Qijin, Xing Hui turned into a human in an extremely short amount of time. A blossoming instant immortal art landed on Gu Qijin's body. Before long, he had turned into a fruit of Tao that shone with flowing light. The resources were in his personal space. One had to know that Gu Qijin's chaos level might not even be at level 20. How long would a son of chaos below level 20 be sealed by his freeze spell at level 75? Thousands of years. Tens of thousands of years. At the very least, by that time, the so-called resources that could cultivate to the reigning realm would be useless to him. This was also why his face darkened and he killed Gu Qijin without hesitation. A Tao fruit. That's quite an unexpected gain. I've already pushed the blooming flower to the consummate level. The consummate level of the blooming flower has the miraculous effect of increasing one's cultivation base and extending one's lifespan. I wonder what kind of miraculous effects the Tao fruit that the consummate level of the blooming flower bears. When he thought of that, Xing Hui didn't recall his Yu Qing clone or the Tai Qing clone he'd used as bait. Instead, he took out a level 15 flying artifact he'd bought from the Crimson Jade Merchant Guild and had Yu Qing pilot it towards Heavy Light City. As for himself, he entered the flying artifact and began to refine the fruit of Tao that had been condensed from the essence, qi, and spirit of a divine true body expert. Chapter 781. Since the Tao fruit contained a tenth of Xing Hui's essence, energy, and spirit, he was quite efficient in refining it. In less than 2 days, he'd completely refined the Tao fruit. Unfortunately, due to his cultivation system, not much of the Tao fruit's energy could remain in his body. Most of it was channeled into the Scarlet Abyss sword to increase its transformation speed. He hoped that the Scarlet Abyss sword could transform into a 17th level divine weapon as soon as possible. Although it didn't increase his cultivation by much, Xing Hui still felt a slight change in himself after completely refining the Tao fruit. Moreover, this change seemed to originate from his spirit. When he thought of this, Xing Hui's gaze immediately fell on the Son of Chaos interface's spiritual level. 161st level. His spiritual level, which had risen from the 7-star sword spirit's potential to the 160th level, had risen by 1 level to the 161st level. Even though the green ruins had tempered the mind a lot during this period of time, he believed that he was clearly still a little away from reaching the 161st step. Thanks to a fruit of ways condensed from the instant the flower bloomed, he forcefully broke through the shackles of his mind and increased it by a level. In other words, the Tao fruit born from the blooming flower at the perfected realm was so special that it could strengthen a cultivator's spirit. Xing Hui carefully estimated that even without his previous foundation, 1.5 to 2 divine true body level Tao fruits would still be able to raise his spiritual level by 1 level. Xing Hui's breathing paused when he thought of this. The further one progressed, the more difficult it was for a cultivator to raise their spiritual level. If his guess was correct, this supreme immortal technique, Blossoming Instant, would become the most useful and terrifying immortal technique among all his immortal techniques. It's really an extremely evil immortal technique. However, compared to a virtual shattering realm cultivator, a divine true body expert's energy storage is much higher. Even a virtual shattering realm cultivator would only be more in tune with the laws of nature. In terms of energy, they might not be much stronger than a divine true body expert. Therefore, the divine true body level is the most effective for the blooming flower. It's not worth the loss to deal with a virtual shattering realm cultivator, and the benefits of refining a virtual shattering realm Dao fruit are too small. Xing Hui fell silent for a while. If he wanted to seriously injure or capture a divine true body expert, he could only transform into the Kunpeng. If someone discovered the secret of his transformation technique, even realm with a thought, they wouldn't be able to turn a blind eye to it. A son of Chaos Realm. It was unknown whether the Chaos Realm giant in the true Sun Great World had exceeded the 45th level. Hunting down a divine true body expert is definitely not an easy task. Moreover, with my current abilities, hunting down a divine true body expert is far too dangerous. Every divine true body expert has lived for at least several thousand years, and the resources and social circles they have far exceed my imagination. If I really want to rely on the blossoming flower to increase my cultivation, I need to find a carefree backer. Xing Hui pondered. He had to ask the experienced and knowledgeable Tuoba Chongkong about this. However, for now, he would first go to the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce to take a look. Thinking of this, Xing Hui put away his flying instrument, but he didn't keep Yuqing's incarnation. Instead, he and his incarnation flew toward Heavy Light City at full speed. As he had stayed on the flying instrument for 2 days, he wasn't far from Heavy Light City. At full speed, Heavy Light City was already in sight in less than 2 hours. After arriving at Heavy Light City, Xing Hui went straight to the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce. As the top chamber of commerce in the Tsangshuan continent, the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce had an extremely powerful intelligence network. Although they didn't know much about Xing Hui's incarnation, Yuqing, purchasing a large amount of goods in the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce, they knew that he was a wealthy customer. Therefore, when Xing Hui and Yuqing's incarnation arrived at the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce, Gu Wu, the vice president of the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce, personally came out to greet them and warmly welcomed them to the VIP lounge. Mr. Yuqing, we're honored by your presence. It's the honor of our Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce. As one of the top chambers of commerce in the Tsangshuan continent, our foundation is definitely not inferior to any chamber of commerce in the Tsangshuan continent. The things inside will certainly satisfy you. Oh. Satisfy me? Do you have the crystal wood core in the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce? Do you have the mysterious desolation chi? Xing Hui's Yuqing incarnation said indifferently. Although the aura on his body wasn't strong, under the cover of the shadowless immortal art, President Gu Wu didn't dare to underestimate him in the slightest. We don't have the crystal wood core or the mysterious desolation chi, but I believe this item will certainly satisfy Mr. Yuqing. Gu Wu took out a crystal stone as he spoke. As he injected his power into the crystal stone, a three-dimensional image was suddenly projected from the crystal stone. What appeared in the three-dimensional image was a light blue spring exuding a clear and pure aura. Even if it was only a three-dimensional image, Xing Hui seemed to be able to sense the incredible life force in the clear spring. This is... Xing Hui's heart stirred. He immediately thought of a treasure that Tuoba Chongkong had mentioned that had a miraculous effect on the growth of wood spirits. He couldn't help blurting out, "Is this the spring of life? You must be Bishop Dongyang. You're really knowledgeable." Yes, this is the spring of life. Gu Wu had a faint smile on his face. If Bishop Dongyang and Mr. Yuqing want to cultivate wood spirits, I think there's nothing more suitable than a crystal of life. It's the spring of life. Xing Hui's pupils contracted slightly. He didn't find it strange that Gu Wu and the others were able to find out that they were collecting resources to nurture wood spirits. Whether it was the crystal wood heart or the azure wood essence, they were all treasures used to nurture wood spirits. Ordinary people would buy these things to nurture wood spirits. If the efficiency of cultivating wood spirits with spirit marrow was 10, the crystal wood core was 20, and the azure wood spiritual liquid was 30, then the spring of life's efficiency could definitely reach 40. However, compared to the crystal wood core and the azure wood spiritual liquid, which were only useful for cultivating wood spirits, the spring of life could not only cultivate wood spirits on a large scale, but also had inestimable benefits for healing injuries. Moreover, drinking it all year round could wash away the impurities in one's body, making it easier for one to break through the limits of life essence and evolve to a higher level. Because of this, the price of the spring of life was very high. It would be a waste to simply buy it to cultivate wood spirits. Moreover, the power of the spring of life itself originated from a legendary divine tree, the tree of life. There were 12 divine beasts in the world, so 12 types of great Tao were passed down. Every cultivator in the cultivation world could find the shadows of the 12 divine beasts. Moreover, the ultimate goal of their cultivation was to cultivate the laws represented by the 12 divine beasts and obtain their approval. However, in addition to the 12 types of great Tao that represented the 12 divine beasts, there were 6 types of great Tao that reflected the great Tao of heaven and earth. The legendary divine tree, the tree of life, was one of the great Tao of heaven and earth that represented the great Tao of life. This kind of great Tao of heaven and earth had almost been completely lost in the world. Its rarity was almost comparable to that of the great nether glow of the 12 divine beasts. Without the tree of life, although the spring of life was still very valuable, it couldn't continuously produce spring water. In other words, when Xing Hui ran out of the spring of life one day, it would be equivalent to losing its original mystery. Buying the spring of life as a great Tao of heaven and earth would be equivalent to wasting it. However, as long as he could cultivate enough wood spirits to let the dragonization fruit tree mature as soon as possible, so what if he wasted a spring of life? Thinking of this, Xing Hui directly asked, "What's the price of the spring of life?" Seeing Xing Hui ask for the price, Gu Wu's face showed a trace of joy. He hurriedly said, "The price of the spring of life is immeasurable, especially the spring of life. It has the miraculous effect of reviving flesh and bones. The price of 200 Taoist rhymes is definitely not high." Before Gu Wu could finish speaking, Xing Hui waved his hand and interrupted, 120 Taoist rhymes. This is my price. 120 Taoist rhymes. Gu Wu couldn't help but be slightly stunned when he heard Xing Hui's price. Then, he smiled bitterly and said, "Mr. Yuqing, 120 Taoist rhymes is too low a price. The spring of life is a legendary treasure. How can you? This is my price. If it's okay, then it's okay. If it's not okay, then it's okay. In any case, I've already accumulated a lot of things needed for the growth of wood spirits. In the short term, I don't need these things too urgently. If you really want to sell your spring of life at a high price, then keep it and wait for the next buyer." After Yuqing finished speaking, he didn't seem to want to be entangled with the spring of life anymore. He directly said, "All right, do you have anything else? Let me see it all at once. I only hope that the treasures in your Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce aren't much worse than the Scarlet Jade Chamber of Commerce. This. Mr. Yuqing, please wait a moment. Let's discuss the price of the spring of life again. I've already quoted the price of the spring of life. I'm a straightforward person. If it's okay, then it's okay. If it's not okay, then it's okay. I don't want to haggle over these Taoist treasures." Gu Wu saw that Yuqing seemed to have an indifferent attitude towards the spring of life. In addition, he knew that the spring of life was somewhat useless. If he missed out on such a big customer like Yuqing this time, he didn't know how long he would have to wait before he could sell the spring of life again. He immediately gritted his teeth and said, "All right, as Mr. Yuqing said, 120 Taoist rhymes it is." "All right." Yuqing nodded. "Let me see if you have any other good things. If there is, we can complete the transaction in one go. It'll save me the trouble of making another trip." "Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Yuqing, please take a look." Gu Wu said and quickly took out all the treasures in their Chamber of Commerce. Unfortunately, among the remaining treasures, the only one that could be considered expensive was an 18th level divine weapon. However, this divine weapon was an offensive divine weapon, and it was a long spear. Xing Hui, who had the Scarlet Abyss sword, couldn't use it at all. In the end, he could only regretfully miss out on this 18th level divine weapon. In the end, he only managed to buy this Spring of Life in the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce. Chapter 782. After purchasing the Spring of Life, Xing Hui transferred it to his personal storage before bidding farewell and returning to Cloud Mountain Grotto Heaven. As for the remaining top-notch merchant guild, he had already asked Tuoba Chongkong to inquire about it. Since there was nothing he was satisfied with, he didn't want to waste his time and make a wasted trip. President. When Xing Hui left the Origin Weight Merchant Guild, an old man in the reigning realm immediately came to his side, his eyes gleaming. These two guests are very wealthy. According to estimates, their total expenditure during this period has reached an astonishing 600 Daoist rhymes. Look at us. At this point, he made a beheading gesture with his right hand. Even if the man in the lead is suspected to be in the reigning realm, our Origin Weight Merchant Guild might be able to swallow him. A Daoist rhyme item with over 600 Daoist rhymes. Gu Wu was also shocked by this number, which was so huge that it made people tremble. However, take a look at this piece of information we've just obtained. Gu Wu handed a jade talisman to the old man. Information. The old man took the jade talisman and carefully examined the information within. Before long, his eyes widened. That Yuqing can actually control the reigning divine beast, the Kunpeng. That's right. Gu Wu nodded. Even if we don't count Yuqing's combat strength, a reigning divine beast, the Kunpeng, can almost withstand the combined forces of nearly 10 reigning realm experts. In particular, the Kunpeng is proficient in spatial techniques. If it wants to escape, who can stop it unless a top-notch realm with thought expert personally takes action? Not to mention, Yuqing was able to tame the Kunpeng. Who can guarantee that he's really only in the reigning realm? President Gu Wu's words made the old man's heart sink slightly. Elder Huang, can you see Mr. Yuqing's true cultivation? No, I can't see through it. The old man answered truthfully. We can't see any traces of his cultivation base at all. There are only two possibilities. One, he's cultivated a pinnacle concealment technique, and this secret technique is far more exquisite than we can imagine. The other possibility is Dao integration. Dao integration. The old man's eyes suddenly burst with disbelief. Dao integration. How could this be? First level primal chaos realm, communicating with the great Dao and becoming one with the Dao, that Mr. Yuqing is a Dao integration supreme. This possibility is very low, but it's not impossible. Could he be a top-notch expert who can create a world with a single thought? For example, half-step Dao integration stage. Elder Huang, as a reigning realm expert, you should know better than me that there is no such thing as half-step Dao integration. When President Gu Wu said this, there was a trace of yearning, a trace of fear, and a trace of regret on his face. Creating a world with a single thought is the most powerful realm, but it is also the weakest realm. After all, the cost of maintaining the normal operation of one small world is too great. It is so great that many powerful people who have broken through to the realm of creating a world with a single thought, will think of ways to sell their own divine weapons to keep their world from falling. Furthermore, although the invincible existences of this realm have terrifying strength that can almost crush the unrivaled realm, most of them have chosen to live in seclusion due to exhaustion. If you want to completely stabilize your world, there is only one way. Unification of the Tao. Only by unification of the Tao and ascending to the primal chaos realm and obtaining the support of the great Tao will you be able to make your world impregnable and completely escape the fate of being dragged down by your world and unable to continue. The old man was silent. The realm of creating a world with a single thought was actually somewhat similar to the prominent divine realm of the 6 realms of the longevity realm. However, the difference between creating a world with a single thought and the reigning realm was much greater than the difference between the prominent divine realm and the green netherworld realm. However, the prominent divine realm of the 6 realms of the longevity realm did not manifest the battle physique, so there was no need to worry about the collapse of the sacred body. As for creating a world with a single thought, once the small world was completed, if the normal operation of the world could not be maintained, the world would collapse. What awaited the person who created a world with a single thought was the collapse of their own essence, energy, and spirit. Because of this, creating a world with a single thought was equivalent to the most powerful realm in the divine realm, but it was also like the weakest realm. This was also the reason why creating a world with a single thought was still planned among the 6 realms of the divine realm, even though there was a qualitative change in strength. Many reigning realm experts often possessed the foundation to break through to creating a world with a single thought, but because of the terrifying consumption of creating a world with a single thought, they hesitated at this threshold and did not dare to step into it. In fact, other than this point, according to what we know, that Mr. Yuqing most likely possesses a 10th order personal space. A 10th order personal space is at least a 25th order primal chaos realm. If my guess is not wrong, he is most likely walking the path of an undying body. This kind of person is very difficult to kill. A peak expert who is very difficult to kill, but who can control the divine beast Kunpeng, who knows how tyrannical his foundation is. Once he relies on his profound foundation and undying body to fight against a reigning realm expert. When Gu Wu said this, he did not continue. Die of exhaustion. That peak expert who created a world with a single thought had an extremely small probability of dying of exhaustion. This was not a fantasy. Against a reigning realm expert, creating a world with a single thought, did indeed have the advantage of being able to kill in an instant. However, once that reigning realm expert used too much world power, the efficiency of collecting void crystals could not keep up with the consumption of the world. Gradually, the world would shrink until it could no longer maintain its form and collapse. In the history of True Sun Great World, this kind of thing had not happened many times, but in the past tens of thousands of years, there were still several cases. Therefore, when dealing with those reigning realm experts who had enormous forces and profound foundations, even if a peak expert who created a world with a single thought had an overwhelming advantage, they still had to carefully consider it. This was also the reason why many forces with reigning realm experts could safely survive in the world. Tsing Hui naturally did not know that the exposure of his wealth had attracted the attention of the Yuan Chong Chamber of Commerce. However, because he had used Yuqing as a trump card to hide the truth, they had been forced to give up. However, even if he knew, he would not be too afraid. In any case, he always had a unique advantage in terms of escaping. Unless a peak expert who created a world with a single thought took him into their world, his safety was fully guaranteed. Even if he was taken into the world of a reigning realm expert, it would not be a problem. The first-order teleportation technique could only teleport within a single world, but under the enhancement of the primal chaos art, the teleportation technique could be upgraded to the third order, greatly increasing its teleportation ability. Even a small world of a reigning realm expert might not be able to trap him. Almost all the resources useful to me on the Tsangshuan continent have been plundered. If I want to buy more good things, I can only go to the Qiang Empire, the Flaming River Empire or the True Martial Empire. However, these continents are different from the Tsangshuan continent. Almost all the resources of the divine true body realm and above are related to the imperial family. If I'm not careful, I will be targeted by the imperial family. When that happens, a lot of trouble will inevitably follow. Although Tsing Hui had a way to protect himself, he would be in a difficult situation if he was chased and forced to hide. Therefore, it would not be too late to consider the matter of plundering the resources of the Qiang Empire, the Flaming River Empire and the True Martial Empire until he had the strength of a reigning realm expert. I'll go into closed-door cultivation and take advantage of the fact that my physique has been upgraded to the 14th order to study the sword formation formed by the Great Expansion Sword Qi. This way, if I face a divine true body expert again, I may not even need to manifest my Kunpeng body to kill them. Tsing Hui was about to begin his closed-door cultivation. But at this moment, he seemed to have sensed something. His figure flashed and appeared in the personal space of the primal chaos divine palace. A figure was rarely seen in the personal space. It was Bai Shuaing, sword master Bai Hang, who he had parted with not long ago. Seeing Bai Shuaing, Tsing Hui smiled and was about to say something, but he soon noticed that Bai Shuaing's mood was a little abnormal. He could not help but ask, "What's the matter?" Bai Shuaing glanced at Tsing Hui and was a little depressed, but she quickly adjusted herself. 3 days ago, the Sword Technique Conference of the Void Sword Pavilion just ended. With my unraveling Void Stage cultivation base, I ranked in the top 10 of the Sword Technique Conference where most of the disciples were shattering the vacuum stage. Ranked in the top 10 of the Sword Technique Conference where most of the disciples were shattering the vacuum stage. Tsing Hui could imagine the weight of this ranking. He immediately said, "Congratulations, I knew that with your talent, what limits you is not your cultivation base, but the size of the stage. As long as you are given a vast stage, one day, you will be able to soar into the sky." Bai Shuaing nodded and was silent for a moment. Then she slowly said, "Due to my extraordinary performance in the Sword Technique Conference, the higher-ups of the Sword Pavilion have decided to send me to the Void Major World where the headquarters of the Void Sword Pavilion is located through the Star Path." The Void Major World. Tsing Hui had already learned from ordinary intelligence channels that the force behind the Void Sword Pavilion was very shocking. But he did not expect that there was a major world behind them. Moreover, they could open the Star Path when the True Sun Major World was half closed. And once Bai Shuaing went to the Void Major World, she would not be able to return to the Divine Wilderness World or even the True Sun Major World for a long time. Suddenly, Tsing Hui seemed to have thought of something and also fell silent. After a while, he asked, "This is a good thing. Then do you agree?" Bai Shuaing glanced at Tsing Hui. This glance lasted for a breath. After that, she nodded slightly, "I agree." As Bai Shuaing gave an accurate answer, Tsing Hui felt as if a piece of his heart was faintly empty. However, he could not help but want to laugh at this inexplicable change in his emotions. After all, although he had a good relationship with Bai Shuaing, it was still too early to say that he was reluctant to part with her. More importantly, before he found senior sister Jiang Ningji, he did not dare to have any other thoughts in his heart. The change in his emotions could be described as complicated, but in fact, it only lasted for a moment. Tsing Hui seemed to be startled, but he quickly reacted and replied with a smile, "Congratulations." "Thank you." Bai Shuaing nodded slightly in response. "When will the so-called Star Path open?" An extremely outstanding genius appeared in this Sword Technique Conference. His name is Sword Sovereign Luanyu, and he has perfectly merged the Sword Dao with his bloodline. He has attracted the attention of the higher-ups, so the Star Path will open in 3 days. 3 days. I'm afraid I won't be able to send you off then. Yes. Bai Shuaing nodded in response. For a moment, the atmosphere suddenly froze. The two of them did not know what to say. After a while, Bai Shuaing, who had a more open personality, spoke first, "I'm afraid I'll need some time. If Tsing Hui returns to the Divine Wilderness, I'll have to trouble you to look after the Rainbow Sword Sect." "Of course." Tsing Hui smiled and said, "Don't forget, I'm the 4th Sword Master of the Rainbow Sword Sect. Not to mention, the Rainbow Sword Sect is now a part of the Origin Sword Sect." "Okay, then I'll be leaving. I won't send you off then. I hope one day I'll hear the name of Sword Master Bai Hang, or even Supreme Bai Hang, in the endless starry sky." Tsing Hui said. "Thank you." Bai Shuaing nodded reservedly. In the end, she suddenly said, "I also hope you can find the person who made you make a promise as soon as possible." Promise. These 2 words immediately caused Tsing Hui's expression to freeze slightly. "She's very lucky." Bai Shuaing smiled faintly. One could faintly see 2 sweet little dimples on her face. "Goodbye." With that, Bai Shuaing's figure faded, leaving only a wisp of a clear shadow in Xing Hui's eyes. It seemed to linger for a long time. Chapter 783. Promise. Xing Hui sat cross-legged in the cultivation room, absent-minded and silent. It had been 3 months since he returned from the Yuanchong Chamber of Commerce. It had also been 3 months since he said goodbye to Bai Shuaing in his personal space. After a long while, he lowered his head. I have my promise. I've already made a promise. I'll keep my word. Xing Hui closed his eyes. Immediately, all the messy thoughts in his mind dispersed. At this moment, nothing else mattered. The only thing that mattered was the promise that he had made and the conviction that he had to uphold it. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. In the past 2 years, Qing Su poured all of his efforts into studying the 49 strands of sword qi of great derivation. This was not limited to just him, but the fortune jade as well. He used the fortune jade's power to continuously deduce the 49 sword qi. Although its efficiency could not be compared to that of the supreme immortal techniques, it had perfected the sword formation formed by the 49 sword qi. At present, the sword formation formed by the 49 sword qi had the astonishing power to strangle opponents of a higher realm. Not to mention a divine true body expert, even a top expert in the traversal realm would find it difficult to break through. Apart from the 49 sword of great expansion qi, Qing Su also spent some time to comprehend all 4 of the immortal techniques, namely magic arsenal, reversal of yin and yang, wandering soul control, and fetal transformation, to great perfection. At this point, in addition to the instant blooming flower, 1 qi into 3 pure ones, future reversal, shadowless stance, and aura observation technique, he now had a total of 9 immortal techniques at perfection. Fetal form transformation is an excellent immortal technique for infiltration. Once used, a cultivator will turn into a fetus within 7 days and grow rapidly. During this time, all the information on the body will be reborn. No one will be able to deduce any abnormalities. However, I haven't offended any important figures and don't need to infiltrate any sects or forces, so I don't need to use it for the time being. As for the remaining reversal of yin and yang and the wandering spirit control technique, they each had their own wonders when they reached the consummate level. The reversal of yin and yang could erase all remaining qi. Xing Hui estimated that even if a cultivator used the mirror light technique to observe the area disturbed by the reversal of yin and yang, they would not be able to find any information. As for the soul wanderer air control technique, when one reached the great perfection stage, one could completely transform one's primordial spirit into an illusory object, allowing one to travel to almost any realm. If it wasn't for the lack of opportunity, Xing Hui even wanted to try the supreme immortal technique, spirit wanderer technique, to see if it could pass through the world barrier of a world creation expert. However, the supreme immortal technique, magic arsenal, left Qing Su rather disappointed. It wasn't that it wasn't miraculous, but that the requirements were too high. The consummate level of magic arsenal could transform almost any level of heaven and earth spirit into a human form. However, if the cultivator's power was not strong enough, those spirit creatures might not be controlled by the cultivator. Even if such spirit creatures were transformed, they would be useless and would be wasted. Xing Hui estimated that with his current strength, he could only command a few divine true body-level spirit creatures. However, spirit creatures were weaker than human cultivators. Unless he could transform a large number of divine true body-level spirit creatures, this supreme immortal technique would be of little use. Shaking his head, Xing Hui's attention shifted to his personal space. In 2 years, the number of wood spirits in his personal space had increased to 68. The number was much higher than he had imagined. Under the care of these 58 wood spirits, the dragonization fruit tree was growing extremely well. Moreover, there were 36 dragonization fruits hanging on its branches. However, these dragonization fruits were not ripe yet. Xing Hui estimated that they would ripen in a few months if they were fast and half a year if they were slow. When the time came, he would refine all 36 dragonization fruits. Although his life essence would not be raised to the level of a divine beast, his physical strength would be stimulated and tempered, and he would definitely be able to make another breakthrough. Just as Tsing Hui was sizing up the dragonization fruit tree, a small sapling less than a meter tall appeared in his field of vision in his personal space. Due to Tsing Hui's orders, the 68 wood spirits were all surrounding the dragonization fruit tree. However, the wood spirit queen, who was in charge of nurturing the wood spirits, was circling around the small sapling. She was constantly using her essence to nurture the small sapling, allowing it to grow healthily. What surprised and shocked Tsing Hui was that the small sapling exuded an extremely dense aura of life. Even though it was less than a meter tall, the ripples of life it exuded were still refreshing. Just taking a breath would make one feel as if they had been cleansed by a divine being. What kind of sapling is this? Tsing Hui examined it for a moment and could already tell that this sapling was not ordinary. According to the characteristics of this sapling, Tsing Hui pondered for a moment. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind. In the next moment, his figure flashed and he appeared above the spring of life that should have dried up after 2 years. The sapling was right next to the spring of life. The spring of life was constantly absorbing the aura of life exuded by the sapling, transforming it into spring of life water. As a result, not only did the spring of life not dry up after 2 years, it had even expanded considerably compared to 2 years ago. It can enhance the creation of the spring of life. Tsing Hui turned his gaze to the sapling in shock. There was a trace of disbelief in his heart. The Tree of Life. One of the 6 legendary treasures of heaven and earth, the Tree of Life. Since when did he have a Tree of Life in his personal space? As the owner of his personal space, why didn't he have any memory of it? Fortunately, Qin Su's mental strength had reached the 161st level now, so his memory was far better than before. Very soon, he remembered that he had once planted a mysterious seed in this region. However, apart from the tremendous presence of life and the mysteries of the seed, there did not seem to be any possibility for it to survive. As a result, he did not pay too much attention to it after planting the seed. Now it seemed that mysterious seed from the Green Lotus Sword Sect's Dong clan was actually the seed of the legendary Tree of Life. Originally, there was no possibility that this Tree of Life could be grown by Tsing Hui. However, by chance, he had purchased a wood spirit queen. Coupled with the appearance of the spring of life, this two-pronged approach had brought this Tree of Life to life, and now, it had taken root and sprouted. The Tree of Life, this is a plant of legend. Tsing Hui took a deep breath. The Tree of Life symbolized the great Tao of life and contained an infinite amount of life force. Any living being who had comprehended the great Tao of life could not be killed unless their spirit was directly erased. Even if their bones were ground to dust, there was no exception. This was a mysterious existence that surpassed the realm of rebirth from a single drop of blood. It's a pity that my personal space is only a personal space. It has yet to become a small world that has been refined into one with my body. If I can open up a small world with this Tree of Life in it, as long as my spirit is not destroyed, any cultivator below the chaotic realm will not be able to kill me. Even if dozens, or even hundreds of top-tier powerhouses with a single thought were to charge at me, they would not be able to do anything to me. Furthermore, with the replenishment of the Tree of Life's life force, I can continue to push my body to its limits to increase the strength of my body. In any case, as long as the Tree of Life exists, I will be immortal and indestructible. Tsing Hui's face was filled with surprise and joy. If not for the fact that the dragonization fruit tree was of greater help to him than the Tree of Life, he probably would have been impatient to have the wood spirits nurture the Tree of Life with all their might. The dragonization fruit tree will mature in a few months if it's fast, or half a year if it's slow. At that time, it'll be extremely easy for me to kill divine true body cultivators. It won't be difficult for me to use the flower blooming moment immortal technique to continuously convert Tao fruits and increase my mental strength. Then, I have to find a place where I can kill divine true body experts without attracting trouble. With this thought, Xing Hui summoned the knowledgeable Taba Changkong and asked his question. A place where master can fight divine true body experts to your heart's content without attracting any trouble. Taba Changkong could not help but be stunned when he heard Xing Hui's words. Master, you can fight divine true body experts. How could I not have improved in 2 years? Taba Changkong's expression immediately turned blank. Only 2 years? Was 2 years really enough for a vacuum-shattering cultivator to reach the level of a divine true body expert? Alright, you only need to solve my problem. Taba Changkong immediately dismissed his thoughts and glanced at Qing Su. Even though he still felt a sliver of reverence and disbelief, when he thought about the news he had heard about Gu Qijin's fate 2 years ago, he still said, if master really wants to find a place where you can fight to your heart's content against experts of the divine true form without incurring any trouble, then that's without a doubt a war between nations. War of nations. Tell me in detail. When master was traveling through the void, did you notice the many war fortresses outside the void of our true sun great world? Of course. Xing Hui nodded. Those war fortresses are, in fact, the defensive positions of the top forces to prevent external attacks. After all, it's much faster to fly from one continent to another through the spatial mezzanine compared to flying at full speed inside the world. Protecting the corresponding spatial mezzanine in one's territory is equivalent to protecting the defensive circle of one's country. Xing Hui listened and nodded understandingly. Those war fortresses were actually equivalent to the sky fortresses of the mortal kingdoms on earth. Whoever could obtain victory on that battlefield would obtain the air supremacy of the battlefield. Among the Scarlet Sun Empire, the Flame River Empire, and the True Martial Empire, the True Martial Empire is the strongest, but there aren't many forces that exceed it. After all, the decisive battle strength is the 3 empires. Each of the 3 empires only has one chaotic sovereign. The only difference is the number of experts in the one thought to create a world, and the one thought to create a world, and the number of experts in the one thought to create a world, and the one thought to create a world. Currently, the Scarlet Sun Empire and the Flame River Empire have secretly joined forces to keep the True Martial Empire in check. Chapter 784. Kingdom War. Xing Hui's expression was a bit strange. Even divine true body cultivators might not be able to protect themselves. Are you sure you want me to go? Master, you think too highly of the Kingdom War. In reality, the primal chaos supremes of the 3 empires are keeping each other in check and will not act rashly. Furthermore, if a world realm expert with a single thought were to act rashly, it would put a burden on the maintenance of his own world. Unless his side is about to be completely defeated, a world realm expert with a single thought would be too lazy to make a move. The true main forces on the battlefield are the divine true body and the traversal realm experts. The traversal realm experts are usually the people in charge of the fortresses and will usually be dealt with by the traversal realm experts on their own side. The true main forces of the battlefield are the divine true body experts. Furthermore, Master has a special teleportation technique. Even if he is unable to escape from the traversal realm experts, he can still protect himself. At this point, Tuoba Zhangkong added, joining the Kingdom War is often rewarded with merit points. These merit points can be exchanged for some of the best items in the 3 empires. There is no lack of supreme treasures that can even be used by peak experts at the world creation realm. That is why I recommended this option to Master. If Master feels that the Kingdom War is too dangerous, you can hire cultivators to help defend the sect or attack the enemy. No need. Xing Hui said, if I didn't hear wrongly, the Kingdom War is divided into fortresses and fortresses. Yes, that's right. A defensive region usually has dozens of fortresses. World Ascension cultivators are in charge of the region, and 2 to 3 reigning body cultivators are in charge of each fortress. Those who fight are divine true body cultivators, vacuum-shattering body cultivators, and void-shattering body cultivators. Vacuum-shattering body cultivators are only ordinary warriors. Tsing-Hui couldn't help but be speechless. In reality, the true main force in a fortress war is divine true body cultivators. The standard configuration of a fortress is usually 1,000 void-shattering body cultivators, 100 divine true body cultivators, and 2 to 3 reigning body cultivators. Among them, void-shattering body cultivators and vacuum-shattering body cultivators rarely go out to fight. Their main task is to control the war machines in the fortress to destroy the enemy's fortress. The true main force is divine true body cultivators. Usually, the final victory of a local conflict will end with the enemy's fortress being severely damaged or completely destroyed. I understand. Tsing-Hui nodded. In other words, if I don't actively attack the battle fort, I won't be targeted by unrivaled experts. Well, that's true. However, if Master's performance is too conspicuous, he might still become the target of the reigning realm experts. Very good. Then, which force do you suggest I join? If Master is considering your safety, you will naturally choose the Scarlet Sun Empire and the Flaming River Empire. After all, these two empires still have a great advantage on the battlefield. However, if you want to exchange merit points for top-notch resources, you will choose the True Martial Kingdom. The True Martial Kingdom has a much stronger foundation than the Scarlet Sun Empire and the Flaming River Empire. Tsing-Hui thought about how he would have to borrow the Scarlet Sun Empire's path to return to the Divine Wilderness. If he was able to create enough waves in the Kingdom War and draw in a large amount of the Scarlet Sun Empire's energy, it might be easier for him to return to the Divine Wilderness when the time came. Is there anything I need to prepare for joining the Empire of True Martial Arts? Master, if you are only going to train yourself, there is no harm. However, if you want to have an official position in the Empire of True Martial, it is best to have a clean background. A clean background. Find me a suitable identity. Shattering Void Realm cultivation is enough. Divine True Body Realm cultivation is best. This. Tuoba Zhongkong revealed a difficult expression. This matter was clearly beyond his ability. This kind of disguise might be seen through at a critical moment. You don't need to worry about this. Just find a suitable identity. Leave the disguise to me. Tsing-Hui said and waved his hand. I will give you half a year to settle this matter. Tuoba Zhongkong had no choice but to agree. I will go investigate now. Go. Tsing-Hui waved his hand. Fetus transfiguration was a supreme immortal technique. Not only could it easily change one's aura and characteristics, but it could also mold a person's mind and body. As long as he could find a suitable candidate, Tsing-Hui would only need 7 days to become exactly like that person. Even if that person's clan had a secret technique to identify their own members, they would not be able to detect anything unusual. Time passed slowly, and 5 months eventually passed. After a long wait in Qingsu, the 36 dragonification fruits on the dragonification tree finally ripened. For a moment, a refreshing fragrance immediately permeated the surroundings, filling the area of over 100 kilometers with the dragonification tree as the center. At this moment, the dragonization fruits he had cultivated were different from the ones he had obtained from the spatial maze. Every dragonization fruit was round and full, radiating a translucent red light. It was unknown how many times better they were than the dragonization fruits he had barely managed to produce. This day has finally come. Tsing-Hui took in a deep breath as he sighed emotionally. He had spent almost 3 years in this world, and now that the dragonization tree had finally ripened, it was time to harvest. Even though he had mentally prepared himself, he still could not help but sigh. Now, let me see to what extent these 36 dragonification fruits can temper and strengthen my body. After putting away the 36 dragonization fruits, Tsing-Hui took in a deep breath. Without any hesitation, he took out a dragonization fruit and swallowed it, beginning to refine it. 1, 2, 3, 4. As time passed, one dragonization fruit after another was refined by Tsing Hui, increasing the toughness of his body and altering the essence of his life from the inside out. Even though each dragonization fruit did not significantly increase the toughness of his body, there were so many of them. In a month's time, Qing Su had already refined all 36 dragonification fruits. As a result, his body had reached the 15th step in a single stroke. Even the very essence of his life had been significantly modified. Unfortunately, this sort of transformation was still a little short of giving him the essence of a divine beast. Saint beasts are still fine, but divine beasts are existences equivalent to the embodiment of laws. Any divine beast, even without any cultivation, will have the cultivation of the saint stage as soon as they reach adulthood. With just a little bit of cultivation, they will be able to continuously increase their cultivation, and it will not be difficult for them to reach class 18 divine beasts who can create a world with a thought. Even stepping into the chaotic realm is only a matter of opportunity for them. The body of such a powerful life form is indeed not something that 36 dragonization fruits can achieve. I've taken this matter for granted. Tsing Hui muttered to himself. Although the essence of his life had yet to break through to the level of a divine beast, the Green Ruins could sense that the essence of his life had increased by a huge margin compared to before. At the very least, he could sense the omnipresent power of the world even more clearly now. It was as if his innate talent had been remolded, and he was gradually becoming the favored child of heaven and earth. No wonder the dragonization fruit is so precious. Being able to allow a cultivator to step into the divine true body realm is one of the factors. Another factor is to increase a cultivator's innate talent and potential. I really don't know how sharp my understanding of the great path will be when I possess the life essence of a divine beast as a human. Tsing Hui could not help but feel somewhat expectant. After refining these dragonization fruits, Tsing Hui once again refined his 49 Great Expansion Sword Qi before ending his seclusion. The 49 Great Expansion Sword Qi condensed from the body of a Class 15 divine beast had already surpassed the previous one in terms of power. Previously, when Tsing Hui's body was only at Class 14, he was confident that he could use the 49 Great Expansion Sword Qi to fight against experts of the divine true body realm. Now that his body had broken through again, relying on the sword formation, he could even fight against experts of the transversal realm. If he added on the life aura of the Tree of Life, he might even be able to try and fight a transversal realm expert. As long as I don't encounter an expert of the transversal realm, I can rest easy. Tsing Hui once again glanced at the dragonization fruit tree that had been cultivated by the wood spirit, and left his cultivation room. The moment he walked out of the cultivation room, facing the sunlight outside, Tsing Hui could not help but think of Sword Master Bai Heng, who had been gone for more than 2 years. For a moment, the high-spirited spirit that had just been generated from his cultivation level breakthrough had slightly subsided. I hope you can have a broader stage in the Void Sword Pavilion. Tsing Hui was silent. The next moment, he had already shouted, "Where is Tuoba Changkong? Come and see me." When he came to his study, Tuoba Changkong also quickly rushed in from outside. "Master. How is the matter I asked you to do?" "Master, over the years, I've asked around and found 6 candidates that meet your requirements. Please take a look." As Tuoba Changkong spoke, he handed over a jade talisman with information recorded on it. Tsing Hui took the jade talisman and scanned it with his divine sense. Very quickly, the information about the 6 people recorded in the jade talisman entered his mind. After a moment of consideration, he came to a decision: it's this person from the Zichen family. Zichen Gang. The number 1 genius of the Zichen family who died 30 years ago. The Zichen family is a famous clan. They once had a single-thought realm ancestor. Although 1,000 years ago, that ancestor was besieged by the Scarlet Sun Empire's 3 great single-thought realm ancestors, causing his world to collapse. Even so, the Zichen family's foundations are unfathomably deep. Infiltrating their family will be no easy task. No matter. Gather all the information about Zichen Gang for me, as well as the people closest to him. I need to borrow a drop of their blood. Xing Hui said plainly. That's not difficult. Tuoba Chongkong frowned. When Tuoba Chongkong said this, he still frowned. Rumor has it that Zichen Gang perished in the chaotic streams of space. The Zichen family has already confirmed this. If Master really wants to enter the Zichen family as Zichen Gang, you'll definitely be subjected to strict scrutiny. You don't need to worry about that. Just do your job. Xing Hui said without any room for doubt. When Tuoba Chongkong heard that, he could only reply helplessly, yes. Chapter 785. The Zichen Family. One of the true martial empire's top clans. 1,000 years ago, they'd been overseen by a peak-level expert with a single thought. 1,000 years ago, the Zichen family's ancestor had fallen on the battlefield, but thanks to the network of connections he'd built up over tens of thousands of years, as well as the Zichen family's terrifying foundation, they still held a pivotal position in the true martial empire. No one dared underestimate them. Xing Hui had spent a month learning about Zichen Gang, then obtained a drop of blood from Zichen Gang's younger sister, Zichen Shi. Using the fetus transformation technique, he'd taken Zichen Gang's appearance. In 7 days, he'd grown from an infant to an exact copy of Zichen Gang. Even if someone cracked Xing Hui's genetic code, they'd discover that Xing Hui was Zichen Gang. No one would be able to tell the difference. Zichen Gang was the #1 genius of the Zichen family's younger generation. In less than 200 years, he'd cultivated to the shattering void realm. His cultivation speed was so fast that, even among the countless geniuses of the true Sun Great Realm, he could be considered outstanding. The Zichen family even saw him as their future hope and did their best to nurture him. Unfortunately, when Zichen Gang perished in the chaotic streams of space, their 100+ years of anticipation turned to nothing. The entire Zichen family was immersed in grief for quite some time. This kind of family, this kind of identity, just happened to fit Xing Hui's criteria for infiltration. After changing into Zichen Gong's appearance, he went straight to the Empire of True Prowess and had a conflict with a local sect in the Empire of True Prowess. He used his terrifying swordsmanship that was powerful enough to suppress a divine true body expert and killed the divine true body expert in one fell swoop, shocking the state. However, because of this, he caught the attention of the local powers. Then, through the Zichen family's intelligence channels, reports reached the Zichen family. In the following half a month, 3 groups of people secretly came into contact with him. Xing Hui pretended to know nothing, but the Zichen family collected some information about him and verified it layer by layer. Today, half a month later, he was brought to the Zichen family by an old man who also had a divine true body. It was the mountain range that occupied thousands of kilometers in front of them. Young master, this is your clan's castle. Our Zichen clan is one of the most illustrious clans in the true martial empire. Even though our ancestor met with a calamity 1,000 years ago, our Zichen clan still possesses an incomparably deep foundation. We have 43 traversing realm elders alone, and over 1,000 elders and core disciples who have cultivated the divine true body. Our influence is so great that even the lower-ranked princes cannot compare to us, said Zichen clan's leader. The old man leading the way, Wen Fu, explained patiently. Xing Hui had already inquired about the Zichen family's strength, but the information he heard was rather different from the actual information. At the very least, he only heard that there were 32 reigning realm experts, but the old man Wen Fu said there were as many as 43. Those 11 reigning realm experts were clearly hidden experts of the Zichen family. If 43 revanchist experts were willing to pay the price and form a battle formation, they could easily exhaust a top-tier expert who could create a world with a single thought to death. Master is waiting for you at the main peak. Young master, please follow me. As Wen Fu explained, he led Xing Hui to a peak in the middle of the mountain range. My gang, you're really back. You're really fine. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Not long after they set foot on the peak, a burst of joyous cheers rang out from the palaces on the peak. Then, a noblewoman led a group of several dozen people to welcome them. Some of these people were his close friends and family, while others were servants in the family. They were all the people closest to Zizichen. One of the middle-aged men following behind them was the father of Zizichen, Zizichen Lai, whom Yi Zichen had disguised as. He was a peak reigning realm expert who had cultivated for less than 4,000 years. He was also the current head of the Zichen clan and the pillar duke of the true martial empire. Young master, this is your mother, Madame Rong. This is your younger sister, Zichen Shi. This is your good friend and also your cousin, elder Zichen Chi's descendant, Zichen Feng. Wen Fu stood by Tsing Hui's side and introduced each and every one of these important people to him. At the same time, he turned to the crowd and said, everyone should know that young Master Zichen Gang went through a life-and-death ordeal and was heavily injured. His memories are a bit blurry, so please forgive him for any indiscretions. We understand, we understand, we understand. My poor Gang, Big brother thanked the heavens, you're fine. That's wonderful. The people who came to welcome them were rather understanding. In truth, before Tsing Hui was welcomed to the Zichen clan, his identity had already been verified multiple times by the Zichen clan, including a secret bloodline technique that Zichen Lai had personally used. All of the evidence showed that the man in front of them was the genius disciple of the Zichen clan who had fallen into spatial turbulence 30 years ago and was suspected to have died in battle. Cousin Zichen Gang, you've profited from your misfortune. Not only did you coincidentally obtain an ancient cave, you've also cultivated a peerless sword technique. By relying on the might of your sword technique, you can fight against experts of the divine true body realm. After cultivating for 230 years, you can fight against experts of the divine true body realm. With this speed, you can rank in the top 3 of all the young elites of the true martial empire. Even the most outstanding princes of the imperial family can't compare to you. Zichen Feng chuckled as he looked at Zichen Gang. When Zichen Lai heard Zichen Feng's words, he revealed a faint smile. Although the Zichen family had over 1,000 divine true body experts, less than 100 of them belonged to the Zichen family. Most of them had been recruited by the Zichen family, or were peak experts nurtured by the Zichen family. How could the loyalty of these divine true body experts compare to the members of the Zichen family who had the blood of the Zichen family flowing in their veins? It's good that you're fine, it's good that you're fine. Gang, although you're missing some of your memories, I believe that with the passage of time, you'll remember everything that you've forgotten, Zichen Lai said. Zichen Lai nodded. Tsing Hui looked at Zichen Lai in front of him, then bowed in a reserved manner. After that, he raised his own request, since my memories were lost when the Void Fortress fell in the Void Battleground, I want to go to the Void Fortress to participate in the Kingdom War again and see if I can recover my lost memories. When Tsing Hui finished speaking, his mother, Madame Rong, paled in fright. She hurriedly shouted, you can't, you can't. Gang, the Void Battleground is too dangerous. If you're not careful, you'll die. You absolutely can't go there again. Mother already lost you once. I really don't want to lose you a second time. I feel like we can try this method, Zichen Lai said. Zichen Lai said, the best way for someone who has lost their memories is to go to the place where they lost their memories. That way, they'll be able to regain their lost memories. Furthermore, 30 years ago, Gang was only at the void-shattering realm, so it was naturally very dangerous for him to go to the Void Battleground. However, Gang obtained an ancient inheritance and cultivated an ancient peerless sword technique. Although he's only at the void-shattering realm, his battle prowess is much stronger than a divine true body expert. He can even kill a divine true body expert. If we get 1 or 2 top defensive and life-saving treasures from the Doyen, then his safety in the Void Battleground will definitely be guaranteed. He won't be in as much danger as last time. That's right. Although I've lost my memories, my battle prowess has indeed increased by a lot. As long as I don't get targeted by a peak expert who can create a world with a single thought, then I won't be in any danger. Xing Hui said. Our Zichen family has an excellent relationship with the Dragon Sparrow King. I will arrange for Gang to stay in the Dragon Sparrow King's war zone, and have the fort lord of his fortress do his best to protect him. Madam, don't worry, Zi Chenlai said. When Madame Rong saw the resolute attitudes of the father and son, she felt helpless and could only agree in the end. In the following month, Xing Hui cooperated with Zi Chenlai to deal with some family matters. He also wanted Zi Chenlai to recover his lost memories through family matters. However, he didn't get anything out of it. No. It wasn't like he didn't get anything out of it. At the very least, he got a grade 17 defensive armor from the Council of Elders and a talisman that could summon the incarnation of a reigning realm expert. With these two treasures, Qing Su's safety when he moved about in the spatial battlefield had increased yet again. A month later, Zi Chenlai personally took Xing Hui to the void battlefield. As they traveled through the void, the two of them quickly arrived at a cluster of fortresses outside the true martial empire. This group of fortresses was made up of 14 fortresses, and each fortress had 3 to 4 revanchist experts. The 14 fortresses formed a huge net that covered an area of several 100,000 kilometers, making it so that there was no need to worry about long-range attacks from outside space. Zi Chenlai took Xing Hui directly to the Dragon Sparrow King, who was in charge of the 14 fortresses, and asked the Dragon Sparrow King to take care of Xing Hui. Since the Dragon Sparrow King was on good terms with the Zichen family's ancestor, he naturally agreed. If it wasn't for Xing Hui's strong request to fight enemies in order to awaken his memories, the Dragon Sparrow King might have arranged for him to stay in the core of the cluster of fortresses. Even so, there were still 4 reigning realm experts in the fortress that Xing Hui was arranged to stay in. Each of these 4 could be considered an outstanding expert in the reigning realm. If the 4 of them worked together, it wouldn't be difficult for them to fight against 8 or 10 ordinary reigning realm experts. It could be said to be the safest of the 14 fortresses. Fortunately, although the 4 reigning realm experts were ordered to take care of Xing Hui, it didn't mean that they wouldn't let Xing Hui step onto the battlefield. On the 10th day after arriving at the fortress, Xing Hui and 3 other divine true body experts went out to patrol. An opportunity to hunt down an enemy divine true body expert from the Scarlet Sun Empire appeared in front of him. Chapter 786. 5 Divine True Body Experts. On the surface, Xing Hui looked like an ordinary cultivator, but after cultivating the Spirit Wanderer technique and Aura Observation technique to the pinnacle, his ability to detect enemies was something that even top experts at the boundary realm with a thought couldn't compare to. As a result, the 5 divine true body experts of the enemy camp were discovered and locked onto by him when they were still thousands of kilometers away. Xing Hui glanced at the 4 divine true body experts beside him, then said directly, "If the 4 of us form a team to search for the enemy, the efficiency and range will be a little small. Why don't we split up? For safety's sake, we don't have to split up too much. 1,000 kilometers is enough. For us, if something really happens, we can rush over in 10 breaths' time." "That's not appropriate, haha, Zichen Gang, the lord of the castle told us to take care of you. Don't put yourself in danger." That's right, that's right. It's safer to move together." The 3 of them said at the same time. They had all been entrusted by the Lord and Vice Lord to take care of Xing Hui, so they naturally didn't want to split up easily. When Xing Hui saw this, he smiled and said nonchalantly, "The main reason I came to the void battlefield is to stimulate myself in a life-and-death battle and awaken the memories I lost. If I don't experience danger, how can I recall my memories? What's more, haven't you seen my ability when we've been working together? With the ancient sword technique I obtained, even if I'm surrounded by experts, it's more than enough to protect myself for a dozen breaths' time and wait for you to come to my aid." When the three heard Xing Hui's words, they thought of how difficult it was to deal with that sword technique of his when they sparred a few days ago. In the end, they nodded awkwardly. Your sword technique is indeed impressive. If an ordinary divine true body expert were to fight one-on-one, they would be immediately trapped by your sword formation. If they don't have a special way to escape, there's a risk of being killed. If that's the case, what are you worried about? After all, if we're talking about battle strength, I'm above you. Xing Hui said indifferently. The three divine true body experts were embarrassed by Xing Hui's words, but they were also somewhat dissatisfied. However, it wasn't good for them to express their dissatisfaction, so they could only say, since you strongly insist on splitting up to search and patrol, then we'll do as you say. However, if there really is danger, remember to send a signal for help immediately. We'll definitely rush over as quickly as possible. That's right. Alright, let's each choose a direction and move forward using the network. After saying that, Xing Hui didn't communicate with the others. He just soared into the air and flew forward. Seeing his attitude, one of the three divine true bodies experts muttered, "No wonder you almost died 30 years ago. To be so arrogant and avoid battlefield, if you don't die, who will? I'd like to see if you can maintain this arrogant attitude after asking us for help when you're in danger." As for whether Xing Hui's Zichen gang might be in danger, the three divine true bodies experts didn't really believe that. Not to mention the powerful talisman on Xing Hui that could summon the incarnation of an unrivaled realm expert, just the 17th tier defensive armor on his body was enough to make him invincible among divine true bodies experts. As long as he wasn't targeted by the enemy's main force, there was almost no danger. In fact, if Xing Hui truly encountered danger that he couldn't resist, the three of them shouldn't go and rescue him, but think of a way to protect themselves instead. After all, although they were ordered to take good care of Zichen gang, how could his life be more precious than their own? Even if he had a peak family behind him, it was no exception. It seems like this identity is a bit too good. However, as long as I can show a convincing battle record, even if I want to act alone, I'll be able to get approval. Furthermore, this identity is related to whether or not I can stir up the situation of the Scarlet Sun Empire. It's not good to give up on it. Xing Hui glanced at the three divine true bodies experts who were gradually disappearing, then quickly went forward to meet them. He quickly covered a distance of several thousand kilometers. When he was close to the five divine true body experts, he had already activated Shadowless. After the five of them were within his attack range, he activated the ancient crimson gold spoils of war that he had obtained, the ancient divine world fragment, in one fell swoop. This is, the ancient god realm. Not good, there's an ambush. Everyone, be careful. Cries of alarm rang out from the five divine true bodies experts the moment Xing Hui activated the ancient god realm. However, when the five divine true bodies experts saw that Xing Hui was the only one who had activated the ancient god realm fragment, they all sighed in relief. One person actually dares to kill us. He's really courting death. Alright, let's cut the crap. The ancient god realm's defense isn't strong. Let's attack together and tear it apart, then kill this person. One ancient god realm fragment can be exchanged for at least 800,000 military points. By then, it won't be difficult for us to even purchase a level 17 weapon. The five divine true bodies experts reacted quickly. After a simple discussion, they all revealed their divine true bodies. In an instant, huge bodies that were 200 meters tall and even 300 meters tall appeared in the ancient god realm. The five of them used their superpowers and tore through the void towards the ancient god realm. Let me see exactly how formidable the might of the 49 superfluous sword chi condensed from a 15th level physique is. Xing Hui muttered. With a point of his finger, streaks of blood-red sword aura appeared from his body like a blood-red dragon. With a piercing sound, it tore through the air and slashed towards one of the divine true body's cultivators. What the hell is this? You don't even have a divine true body and you want to defeat me? Dream on. The man who had manifested the true form of Aoyin sneered. His human-like body that was huge but filled with savagery grabbed at the incoming great derivation sword Qi. He was so fast that if they were inside the true Sun Great World, it would be enough to cause the air within a radius of several hundred meters to explode. It could even cause spatial cracks and cause destructive power. Boom! The sharp claws and the sword aura collided, and circles of blood-red ripples appeared in the void. The sword aura that bore the brunt of the attack was torn apart by his claws. However, the man who tore apart the sword Qi and revealed the Aoyin real body did not show any joy. Instead, his expression changed as he cried out in alarm, "Be careful. The power of this sword Qi is not obvious, but it is extremely sharp. I'm afraid it is not inferior to the power of an ordinary divine true body expert." As he spoke, the remaining 48 streaks of sword aura were already shooting towards him. Although the man who had manifested the Aoyin true body had crushed one of the sword Qi, blocked the second sword Qi, and avoided the third sword Qi, when the fourth sword Qi came, he could no longer block it in one fell swoop. He could only watch as the sword Qi cut through his body. Where the sword Qi cut, a black hole-like hole seemed to appear in his divine true body, constantly devouring the surrounding essence. In an instant, a 4-meter-long wound appeared on his divine true body, which was more than 200 meters long. Not good. Lei Ao can't block it alone. What is this? Divine weapon. Rare treasure. When the remaining 4 divine true body cultivators saw the sharpness of the sword aura, their expressions changed. They all moved to intercept the blood-red sword aura that was shooting towards the divine true body cultivator. Each of their attacks had astonishing lethality. Each of their attacks was able to shatter a streak of blood-red sword aura. However, after the blood-red sword aura surrounded the 5 of them, it faintly formed a formation. The sword light formed by the shattered blood-red sword aura was immediately devoured by another streak of sword aura. Before long, this streak of sword aura that had devoured the blood-red light would merge and split with the other sword auras again. After fighting for a while, they had shattered the blood-red sword aura no less than 30 times. However, the number of blood-red sword auras was still above 40. There was almost no loss. Instead, there were 1 or 2 more holes in the divine true bodies that they had manifested. This attack method is too strange. Use all your strength to sense the Chaos Temple and use the power of the Chaos Temple's divine spell to destroy it. Otherwise, I'm afraid we'll die here today. The ancient god world will interfere with the Chaos Temple's senses. I need to concentrate for 10 breaths to be able to communicate with the power of the Son of Chaos and use the divine spell. I have a level 16 defensive treasure that I exchanged with merit points. It should be able to help us hold on for as long as possible. The 5 of them were a little flustered, but they still tried their best to maintain the battle formation to prevent Xing Hui's blood-red sword aura from destroying them one by one. The specialty of the 49 Dian sword auras is its ability to strangle and multiply endlessly after forming a sword formation. Even an unrivaled realm expert would find it difficult to break through and escape from this endless stream of sword aura. It's a pity that the power of the sword aura is still a little weak. In terms of speed, it's lacking. Although I've used the ancient god world to isolate the battle waves, it'll be troublesome if the 3 of them find out. Xing Hui stared at the 5 people in the ancient god world for a while. After gaining a slight understanding of the power of the Dian sword aura, he did not waste any more time. The deep scarlet sword in his hand vibrated as he became one with the sword and charged directly into the ancient god world. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. Take this brat down. Seeing Xing Hui rush into the ancient god world, the eyes of the 5 divine true body experts lit up. 3 of them released the power of their divine true body in unison, enveloping the sword aura that filled the sky. The remaining 2 took the opportunity to roar angrily. With the roar of their divine true bodies, they charged forward with the power of Mount Tai. Even in the unique environment of the ancient god world fragment, the space around them shook violently. It seemed like the enchantment formed by the ancient god world would be completely broken in the next moment. Divine True Body. Xing Hui looked at the two giant monsters that were more than 200 meters tall in front of him. He took a deep breath and activated the Dian Sword. The Dian Sword's power was fully unleashed. A towering shadow of a blazing sun appeared in the void and enveloped the two Divine True Body experts. Then, the inside collapsed. Solar Eclipse. Chapter 787. Gravity-Affected Space. The Sword of Solar Eclipse was a sword technique that used gravity to affect space. Now that Xing Hui had used it, he was like a supreme expert who had completely understood and mastered the laws of space. With one slash, the two Divine True Body experts were trapped in the shadow formed by the Sword of Solar Eclipse, unable to escape. At the same time, the 49 Great Derivation Sword Chi that had been suppressed by the Divine True Body experts swiftly broke through the air, silently shooting toward them. It was so fast that the three Divine True Body experts paled. Watch out! Those Sword Chi, almost at the same time that the three Divine True Body experts cried out, the sky full of Sword Chi had already shot down. Enveloped by the power of the Sword of Solar Eclipse, the two Divine True Body experts could only watch helplessly as the Sword Chi shot toward them, piercing through their magnificent Divine True Bodies and tearing them to pieces. No! Accompanied by the unwilling roars of the two Divine True Bodies, the collapse of their true bodies affected them, causing them to suffer heavy injuries. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xing Hui did not hesitate to use the 1 Qi into 3 Pure 1 secret technique. His 1 Qi into 3 Pure 1 secret technique had been cultivated to the perfect realm, and the strength of the incarnation he manifested was almost the same as his own body. Apart from not possessing some of his special divine powers, it possessed nearly 90% of his battle strength. This level of battle strength was not much inferior to a Divine True Body expert in a head-on confrontation, let alone dealing with two severely injured experts of the Divine True Body realm. In this situation, the two heavily injured Divine True Body experts were captured by the two incarnations without any suspense. What divine ability is this? He can actually create two incarnations whose battle strength is not much weaker than his own. Even a 10th order incarnation technique can only create one incarnation, right? Tear the ancient god world apart and leave first. When the remaining three Divine True Body experts saw this scene, they immediately lost interest in rescuing the other two. Although they were in the same team, they were not sworn friends. To avoid sacrificing themselves to save the other two, the remaining three immediately focused all their energy on the ancient god world. Unfortunately, although the ancient god world was on the verge of collapse under their attacks, it did not completely collapse. Under Xing Hui's coercion, the three Divine True Body experts who were fighting for their own lives were quickly trapped by his Sword of Solar Eclipse. Then, he used the 49 Dian Sword Qis to severely injure and capture them alive. After severely injuring the last person, he did not hesitate to unleash his supreme immortal technique. In an instant, a 7-colored rainbow light enveloped one of the experts of the Divine True Body stage. Not long after, it turned into a flower that bloomed. It was like a night-blooming epiphyllum, and after it bloomed, it immediately bore fruit. When this scene fell into the eyes of the Divine True Body experts who had yet to lose consciousness, they immediately felt a chill in their hearts. What kind of evil technique is this? What kind of monster are you? I am an elder of the Heaven Lake sect. My Heaven Lake sect is one of the top sects in the Qiyang Empire. There are more than 10 reigning realm elders in the sect. If you kill me, the Heaven Lake sect will definitely not let you go. On the contrary, if you can let us go, I am willing to give you all the 20-odd items that contain Tao as compensation. Yes, yes, yes. We are fighting for the Zhenwu Empire and the Qiyang Empire respectively. We are fighting for our own masters. There is no deep hatred between us. Why do you have to kill us? If you're really willing to let us go, I also have 23 Taoist charms worth of items. I'm willing to give all of them to you, sir. I hope you'll let us go. Tsing Hui's gaze swept across the divine true body cultivators. Perhaps there is no hatred between us. It is just that we are on different sides. Unfortunately, I have a reason to raise my cultivation level as soon as possible. In order to obtain enough power to return to my hometown as soon as possible, I can only ask for your help. Furthermore, since you have stepped onto the battlefield of the War of the Kingdoms, you should naturally be prepared to die. After he finished speaking, he did not refine the fruit. A rainbow light once again enveloped the other divine true body powerhouse. He was able to use the blooming flower of the perfection stage with ease. Before long, the divine true body experts were completely devoured by his blooming flower of the blooming flower. Not long after he ended this battle, the 3 divine true body experts belonging to Tsing Hui's camp quickly surrounded him. They had not sensed his aura for some time. However, by then, Tsing Hui had already put away the ancient god world. He pretended as if nothing had happened. When he saw the 3 people surrounding him, he even feigned a trace of confusion. Master Tsing Hui, are you alright? I'm fine. What's wrong? It's nothing. It's just that your aura suddenly disappeared. We were worried that you might be in danger, so we hurried over to take a look. When Tsing Hui heard that, he feigned arrogance and said, I obtained an ancient inheritance. The might of my sword formation can withstand even a traversing realm expert for a short while. On this battlefield, traversing realm experts rarely take action personally. How could the remaining divine true body cultivators defeat me silently? You're all a little too nervous. When they saw Tsing Hui's unappreciative expression, the 3 divine true body experts felt that they were asking for a rebuff. They said unhappily, since you're fine, then forget it. Then we'll continue patrolling. Be careful. Master Tsing Hui doesn't need us to remind him to be careful. Didn't he say that ordinary divine true body experts wouldn't be able to do anything to him? We should be the ones taking care of our own safety. Alright, let's go. With that, the 3 divine true body experts quickly dispersed. Before long, they were nowhere to be seen. Tsing Hui couldn't be bothered to explain. The reason he acted this way was because he didn't want anyone to disturb him while he was killing those divine true body experts. After all, the supreme immortal technique, Blossoming Instant, was too evil. If this immortal technique were to spread, it would cause a huge commotion in the entire True Sun Great World. Even if it was difficult for them to cultivate the supreme immortal technique Blossoming Instant with their own efforts, there would still be countless unreconciled top almighties and even Chaos Realm giants who would personally take action and target him. I have to kill more divine true body cultivators as soon as possible. Otherwise, when they react, I'm afraid that the Traversing Realm Vice Fort Master will personally come out to investigate. At that time, it won't be easy to kill divine true body cultivators anymore. Tsing Hui thought to himself. He didn't care about the loss of essence chi caused by using Blossoming Instant 5 times. He relied on the recovery characteristics to recover and once again used the combination of the spirit control technique and the aura examination technique to search for the next round of prey. This time, the search didn't last long. 12 hours later, 2 small teams that were less than 1,000 kilometers apart appeared in his field of vision. These 2 teams each had 5 people, which added up to a team of 10 people. With Tsing Hui's current ability, it wouldn't be easy for him to take them down silently. The ancient divine world can form a small boundary and interfere with the operation of the Chaos Temple's power. It's really the best treasure for trapping enemies and killing them. Unfortunately, it said that there are 12 fragments of the ancient divine world, but only 9 have appeared. These 9 fragments are, without exception, in the hands of those who have achieved world creation with a thought. To them, the trapping effect of the ancient divine world is useless. After all, the trapping effect of the ancient divine world can only be used on cultivators below the traversing realm. It's useless for cultivators above the traversing realm. What they really want is the secret of the ancient divine kingdom contained in the ancient divine world. It's related to the inheritance of a ruler, so naturally, no one is willing to sell it. Unfortunately, the function that they don't want now is what I need most. Xing Hui felt a little regretful as he sensed the two teams. If he went forward to kill one of these teams, the other would quickly come back to help. Moreover, this place wasn't far from the opponent's battle fortress. If he really dared to attack one of them and couldn't end the battle in a short time, the consequences would be, there wouldn't be any serious consequences. He just had to escape as soon as possible. Other than cultivators, there are all kinds of mythical beasts in the void battleground. Although mythical beasts will be surrounded and killed by all the experts of the three empires when they enter the void battleground, I can still severely injure the 10 experts of the divine true body realm the moment I appeared. Seems like I can give it a try. Xing Hui was a little reluctant to let the 10 experts of the divine true body realm slip by his fingers. After all, it wasn't easy to hunt down suitable targets even in the void battleground. Even if I have the ancient divine world, I can't take down 10 experts of the divine true body realm in a short time. However, if I transform into the mythical beast Kunpeng, that might not be the case. As long as I'm fast enough, even if my identity is exposed, I'm afraid people will think that I'm a mythical beast that accidentally entered this place. In order to raise my mental strength level to level 170, or even 180, I'll do it. Xing Hui made a prompt decision and broke away from the search net formed by the other three experts of the divine true body realm. He quickly rushed toward the 10 experts of the Crimson Sun Empire who were gradually converging. In the past, when Xing Hui broke away from the main group, the three experts of the divine true body realm who were traveling with him would naturally come forward to greet and warn him. However, because of his bad attitude just now, the three experts of the divine true body realm were not very fond of him and did not bother to follow him after he broke away from the group. This gave him a chance to act alone. As he flew at full speed on his sword, he quickly caught up with the 10 experts of the divine true body realm who had finished converging and seemed to want to return to the fortress. Although he used the shadowless stance divine ability, when he sneaked within 100 kilometers of the 10 experts of the divine true body realm, the 10 experts of the divine true body realm who were chatting and planning to return to the fortress detected his presence. Unfortunately, such a short distance was completely within Xing Hui's attack range. As the ancient divine world came out and enveloped him, he rushed into it. Then, he activated a series of characteristics of the chaos technique, divine technique, and transformation technique at the same time. A powerful mythical beast Kunpeng that was not inferior to the peak of the reigning realm appeared out of thin air. Chapter 788. Xing Hui's physique had already reached level 15, and he could fight against void-shattering experts by himself. Of course, he was slightly inferior to void-shattering experts because he did not have the innate abilities of sacred beasts or divine beasts. However, with such a foundation, coupled with the amplification of the divine skill and chaos skill, the Kunpeng transformation of the reigning realm was no longer a burden to him. With the Kunpeng body, the 10 great divine true body experts who were trapped in a fragment of the ancient divine world lost their divine true bodies in just a few moments. The destruction of the divine true bodies was almost fatal for cultivators of this realm. In addition, the divine beast Kunpeng that Xing Hui had transformed into was much stronger than ordinary divine true bodies. Naturally, he could ensure that he could capture them without harming their lives. The entire process could be said to be extremely smooth. He had killed 10 experts of the divine true body, so in order to avoid raising any suspicions, Qing Su controlled his body of the Kunpeng and appeared for a brief moment. He directly flew towards the depths of the spatial gap with a surging, baleful aura. The appearance of this aura immediately alarmed all the top experts within a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers. For a moment, the aura of the reigning realm rose from the fortresses and swept toward the Kunpeng's direction. Further away, there was a mighty ripple accompanied by the power of space that rolled over like a tide. It was the aura of a top expert who could create a world with a thought. The divine beast Kunpeng of the reigning realm was so strong that even 10 reigning realm experts might not be able to kill it. To really scare away a reigning realm divine beast, one had to invite a top expert who could create a world with a thought. This was also the reason why the expert revealed his aura and set off a tidal wave of energy. However, Tsing Hui did not intend to take advantage of the Kunpeng's body to start a massacre here. After displaying his aura for a brief moment, he fled toward the end of the void, as if he wanted to enter the depths of the void. When he felt that he was almost out of the detection range of the reigning realm experts, he immediately used the supreme immortal technique, Shadowless Stance. At the same time, he used the reversal of yin and yang to erase all traces he left behind, completely disappearing from everyone's sight. After doing all this, he used the stagnation technique and the teleportation technique to cross tens of thousands of kilometers and appear next to the clone he left behind. At this moment, the 3 divine true body experts of the true martial kingdom came to meet him and escape from the battlefield with the divine beast Kunpeng as soon as possible. This was the perfect alibi. Not long after his Kunpeng body teleported away, a blazing flame empire expert who could create a world with a thought also appeared where the divine beast Kunpeng disappeared. Looking at the vast void and the faintly undetectable Kunpeng aura, this blazing sun empire king-ranked martial artist frowned. It seems like some divine beast passed by and felt that it could take advantage of this opportunity, so it hunted down a few of our divine true body experts. According to the aura and the surrounding spatial waves, it is a Kunpeng. However, it makes sense. Only a divine beast Kunpeng that can come and go without a trace and has cultivated the spatial laws into its own talent would dare to enter the void battleground. If it were other divine beasts, they would only die if they were too slow to escape and were caught by us. After confirming that the divine beast Kunpeng had left, this top expert who could create a world with a thought did not waste any more time and quickly left. As for the few divine true body experts who had unfortunately perished, they could only blame themselves for being unlucky. Once Tsing Hui returned to his own fortress, the Griffin Marquis, who was in charge of this fortress, immediately summoned him. The Griffin Marquis was a junior of the Dragon Sparrow King. As Tsing Hui had been entrusted by the Dragon Sparrow King to take care of Tsing Hui, the Dragon Sparrow King had naturally conveyed this intention to the Griffin Marquis. After knowing that a divine beast Kunpeng had appeared on this battlefield, the Griffin Marquis naturally summoned Tsing Hui to show his concern. "Are you frightened? I heard that the area you were patrolling was not far from where the divine beast Kunpeng's aura was exposed. You must have felt the terrifying aura emanating from that divine beast Kunpeng, right?" Tsing Hui nodded. "It is indeed astonishing. The divine beast Kunpeng's fiendish aura can spread over 1,000 kilometers, especially the spatial waves it creates when it attacks. Even from thousands of kilometers away, we can clearly feel it. The divine beast Kunpeng is different from other divine beasts. It is too difficult to deal with them. They are the favored children of space. Their use of the power of space has reached the pinnacle. Even those almighty figures who can create a world with a thought wouldn't dare to say that their understanding of the power of space is greater than a Kunpeng. Therefore, when these top Kunpengs come to our void battlefield to hunt, we can't do anything about it. We can only blame ourselves for being hunted down. When we are killed, we can only blame ourselves," the Marquis of Griffin said with a hint of schadenfreude. Fortunately, the divine beast Kunpeng only targeted the divine true body experts in Marquis Blood Jade's fortress under the Blazing Wheel Monarch. It is said that they have lost 15 people of this level. If not for the fact that I am worried that the divine beast Kunpeng might roam around our territory again, I am considering whether to push our fortress forward and drive Marquis Blood Jade out of the void. Tsing Hui was faintly surprised when he heard this. These divine beasts are so arrogant and unscrupulous in our human territory. Are the top experts of our human empire not willing to kill or capture them? The other divine beasts are a little better, but who can capture the divine beast Kunpeng? A divine beast Kunpeng of the divine beast Kunpeng would require a world-level expert to spend a great deal of effort and a great price to capture and kill it, let alone a level 18 divine beast Kunpeng. As long as this divine beast Kunpeng does not cause too much trouble in the void battlefield, the world-level expert will not mobilize a large force to deal with it. The Marquis of Griffin smiled. This result surprised Xing Hui. Perhaps he could do something similar to using the divine beast Kunpeng's transformation technique to kill the divine true body experts again. Furthermore, with the true Martial Empire's intelligence network, he could immediately know whether or not the world-level experts intended to kill the Kunpeng he had transformed into, and avoid them. If all went well, he would be able to obtain even more divine true body level Dao fruits at an even faster rate. Alright, you should rest in the fortress for a while. Let's see if the divine beast Kunpeng has truly left, or if it is hiding in the dark and waiting for an opportunity to strike. Leave the patrol to the others. Many thanks, Marquis of Griffin. Xing Hui cupped his hands. He just happened to need time to refine the Dao fruits he had just obtained. Of course. Zichen's family Zichen Yi is a good friend of mine. We've been through life and death together. He's your uncle, right? Not long ago, he sent me a message asking me to take care of you. I naturally can't refuse an old friend. If it weren't for the fact that I'm worried about others gossiping, it wouldn't matter even if you just stayed in the fortress and didn't go out to patrol. Many thanks, Marquis of Griffin. Don't worry, Marquis. I won't make things difficult for you. Besides, I came to the void battlefield to stimulate myself in times of life and death so that I can recall my lost memories. Rather than staying in the fortress, I might as well return to the Zichen family and go into seclusion to cultivate. What you say makes sense. In any case, just be careful. You have my jade talisman on you. If you're in danger, immediately crush it. I'll rush over to your aid as quickly as I can. Xing Hui thanked the Marquis once more, then returned to his room in the fortress. The fortress was quite large, and as Qing Su possessed the battle prowess of the divine true body, he obviously had the right to enjoy a room all by himself. Moreover, there was a basic formation in the room, so he did not have to worry about being disturbed as long as nothing special happened. Xing Hui activated the formation, then immediately took out the Dao fruits and began to refine them one by one. Xing Hui had already cultivated the immortal art, instant blossoms, to perfection. The Dao fruits he bore could not only increase his lifespan and cultivation base, they could also increase his spiritual power. His lifespan had obviously settled in Qing Su's body. He now possessed the essence of a sacred beast, so even without the fruit of ways to increase his lifespan, it would not be difficult for him to live for several thousand or even 10,000 years. As for most of the converted energy, he had refined it into the Scarlet Abyss sword, assisting it in its evolution. However, an extremely small portion of it remained in his body, constantly strengthening his body. However, the amount of Dao fruits left behind was rather small. It was like throwing a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. It was difficult for it to display any significant effects. Right now, what Xing Hui valued the most was the increase in spiritual power provided by the Dao fruits. As he refined the Dao fruits one by one, the Scarlet Abyss sword's strength continued to increase. The power of the Golden Crow contained within the Scarlet Abyss sword also continued to strengthen. There was a faint feeling that it was about to break free from the Scarlet Abyss sword and take form. However, the Scarlet Abyss sword now possessed a sword spirit. Moreover, the sword spirit was nourished by Xing Hui's sword intent, so the Golden Crow's power wouldn't go out of control. In addition, his spiritual power also rose as he refined the Dao fruits. After 2 months, he completely refined the Dao fruits. His spiritual power had risen from the previous 161st level to the 169th level in one go. It wasn't much inferior to the traversal realm now. However, as his spiritual power continued to increase, Tsing Hui faintly sensed a problem. The fruit of ways was quite effective at increasing the levels of the soul, but there was a limit to it. As the levels of the soul increased, the effects of the fruit of ways on the tempering of the soul would constantly decrease. Qing Su estimated that he would need at least 5 fruits of ways to reach the 170th level of the soul. If he wanted to increase it further, the number would probably increase even further. As for using the power of the fruit of ways to reach the 180th level of the soul, the number of Tao fruits required was definitely in the hundreds. It seems that if I want to increase my spiritual power to the 180th level in a short period of time, I'll have to do more with the divine beast Kunpang. If I rely on my human body to hunt a few of them, who knows how long it'll take. Tsing Hui thought to himself. His gaze once again turned to the dragonization fruit tree in his personal space. Due to the existence of the tree of life and the spring of life, although he hadn't been able to gather enough azure wood essence and other items, the number of wood spirits was still slowly increasing. If this trend continued, the dragonization fruit tree would mature once again in 3 to 4 years. At that time, his physique would be strengthened again. Perhaps he could consider transforming into an 18th level divine beast Kunpang and forcibly tear apart a fortress. If he could conquer a fortress, he would have all the Tao fruits needed to break through to the 180th level. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.